Peace, Moors. We're here once again just because stuff happens. And when things happen, it's probably best to address it as soon as possible. But before we do that, we just want to put something on the record so people can realize how serious the prophecy, any prophecy is, that Noble Drew Ali would have laid down for us. Peace and love to all the Moors, anywhere that you're at. I see there's 11, 12 in there right now. Make sure you like and share so people could get this message too. We're just going to read one of our to be proclaimed in every meeting letters. So you can have a clear perspective. To the members of the Moral Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you would be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but would sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest. The ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. So what do you think is going to happen if you don't act accordingly to what Noble Drew Ali laid down? Now, we have some people on the line, just like the mother yesterday, that ran into a Moor. You know, they approached the Moor on the level of how you should approach the Moor. How it went for them wasn't really how it should go when you engage Moors. So we just want to let them tell their story, and as well open the floor for them to ask some questions so they can get some correct answers, because you already know how we do with regard to the Moorish movement. And we're with Noble Drew Ali, and we come from the perspective of our duty is to uplift our people, not to rape them, or not to mentally enslave them, or not to play like we're holier than thou and they're on the bottom of some whatever and they need to hit me off for $5,000 so they could be on the platform where I'm at. So I'm gonna yield the floor and let the family speak about their experience. Peace, fam.
Peace.
Good, good.
We have the sister who got added to the call.
All right, no problem, no problem.
So she's listening in. She's someone who I referred to the other gentleman that we speak of.
Right.
And so she has not really been really trusting in her operation with him because of the experience which I was having.
Right.
And so she's listening in on the call as well if you want to greet her.
Greetings, sister. How are you doing?
All right. Good evening. Greetings. I can't complain. I won't complain. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Everything is peaceful, and it's a
Amen.
beautiful.
That's right.
It's a beautiful day to be a Moor and to know about nationality and birthrights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
I guess we could start up, and I guess everybody on the call could give their piece. But what type of things were being presented to you with regard to how you do this thing called correcting your status or being a Moor, or however they put it to you? What are some of the things they relate to you?
Well, it's very funny. I just met with this gentleman yesterday because I wanted to do my tax exempt and then do the mortgage. I was told that it's just yesterday, and then it's in the evening. I contacted my friend Marissa, and then this all came to light. And I gave that gentleman my passport pictures and the documents that was asked to fill out for the tax exempt form.
Right.
So that's where I'm at right now. That's the only dealings I've really had right now with him, and this was just yesterday afternoon.
Right. Okay. Now let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
From the perspective of you being new to this,
Yes.
we're gonna deal with everything from common sense. Like, we're not gonna deal with how much books you read or whatever. We're just gonna deal with the basic, the common denominator of how people should look at this information coming in.
Exactly.
So that it could be understood from the jump. So you don't have to get played by people or whatever.
Okay.
All right. Now, so they're convincing you that there's an exemption for taxes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Property taxes in particular.
All right. Now, if you knew that you can be exempt from taxes, or you could be not obligated to taxes, which one would you pick?
Exempt.
And why would you pick exempt?
Or not obligated. Isn't that the same thing, sort of?
Okay. Well, let's see. How are you looking at it?
I'm looking at it that if I'm exempt from it, I'm not obligated to pay it.
Okay. So what if you're not obligated to it? Without the exempt part, though.
That would be great.
Was that
I would.
Was that presented to you that you're not obligated?
Absolutely not. I didn't even. This is the first I'm hearing those terms.
So
same here. Yeah.
So
we know about exemption and a number.
Right. Did they give you a number?
Not obligation.
Did they give you
the number?
They gave you a number?
No. He said he was going to give me a number,
but
after he puts it through.
Oh, so you have to apply and then you get that number.
Yeah.
All right. Now, did they ever mention somebody by the name of Charles Mosley Bay? CM Bay?
I have never heard that name.
Never heard that name before?
I can't recall ever hearing. No.
If you got your paper, just write that down. CM Bay.
Yes. Right. Yeah. 1 second. Let me write it down. That's B-E-Y or B-A-Y?
B-E-Y.
B-A-Y?
B-E-Y.
B-E-Y. Okay. What's the first?
CM. Charles Mosley.
CM. Oh, Charles Mosley. Okay.
CM Bay.
Charles.
So CM Bay started a association called Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. And the purpose of the Great Seal was to carry on the work that the Moorish Science Temple of America was supposed to be doing, but they dropped the ball because of sellouts.
Okay.
So one of the things that he did was filed his literature that he produced and some other lawful documents in the Library of Congress. Right?
Okay.
One of the things that he filed there was what they're calling tax exempt number. But it's not, the concept of it being a number is for novice people, which is why they say the exempt. But from the perspective of being what we know, if we were here before the people who say, I'm taxing you, then we're not obligated to tax, opposed to being exempt from it.
Oh.
Right? So our interaction with that interface called tax is not now, it's from the perspective of, because we're corporate people. So now that corporate thing applies to us, called tax. Because we're corporate, because we're saying we're black, we're saying we're Smith is our last name, when that's European. We're saying that, you know, they're white people. We're saying that we came over here on a slave ship. So we create this arena where in that jurisdiction of the arena, Caesar has all the power. But we put ourselves there because we weren't being our true self, which is being Moors or being in propria persona. Being in
Sorry, what's that term? Persona?
So he never told you about in propria persona?
I don't know.
Okay. So IN.
I am.
IN as in in.
OIN.
Propria. PROPRIA.
I'm sorry, I was a little distraction. You talking about propria persona?
Yeah.
What did you say about it?
That means in your own proper person.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the only way you can be in your own proper person is if you have a nationality.
Oh.
You can't be in proper persona, but say you're a slave that came from Africa.
Or Jamaica?
You can't be in proper persona or say you came from Jamaica, because Jamaica is a private corporation. That's not the land.
Right.
Right. That's why they have Portmore there and Moortown there. And it's spelled MOOR.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, to let you know that everybody knows what's up except us, because we've been trained to think that we're everything else except that. So once you say that you're Moor, now you're tied to the land. And if you're tied to the land, then how can somebody, because Moor means land when you look up Moor. Moor doesn't just mean, you know, dark-skinned people. Moor also means land.
Yeah, the Moors. And they use that in a lot, right?
Right.
They call the Moors like the pastures.
Exactly. Right.
They have land here in Ontario too, right?
Yeah. Well,
that is of North York.
Yeah.
Is up Plain York. All North York going all the way out to Pickering and all these places is the Moorland.
Right.
What?
The land of the Moors, or the Moors.
Yes.
But it's not. That's not the people. That's the land. But if the land is called that, then the people are from the land.
That's why it's Moorland.
Moorland. because they're relative.
Okay.
Which again goes back to, if we don't know our identity, then we have no connection to land.
Exactly. The Westmoreland in Jamaica is the west of all the moorland.
You could look at it like that's the geographical location where those moors were. So that's the Westmoreland. There would have been probably an Eastmoreland, a Northmoreland, Central Moreland. But if they leave it all in, they give away too much. So they leave enough not to taint the story, but at the same time not give it all up. Just like if we want to say, even on a deeper level, Jamaica is not an island in the Caribbean. That's part of America.
Yes, it is.
No, so Jamaicans are really Americans then. They're not Jamaicans.
Yeah, because it even says that on the map, America.
Okay.
Yes, I was able to pick up that through studying that America itself actually has 23 countries in it, which includes Jamaica and Canada and United States. Yeah.
Right.
Canada and the United States are two of the largest countries within America.
No. Check this now. Canada and the United States is really Morocco.
Oh my. Yeah. That gentleman, he did mention that inside in his teachings actually.
Yeah. Because
he didn't really pick up on that.
Yeah, because majority of Moors who claim that they're teaching somebody have the same foundation. It's just who's going to give it up and who's going to pretend like they got some secret info that somebody else doesn't have.
Hoarding the information, in other words.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time hoarding the information that they would have gotten for free or gotten at a class or gotten at a whatever, that the way they're giving it to you, it wasn't given to them like that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, the way that they're pushing it to you. If you're telling me that the little 10 minutes we've been on the phone, you never heard none of this stuff, then they're not teaching you anything over there. Now, they're not teaching anything over there. They're running a game over there. Because if you could tell me that you met a Moor, and Moore didn't tell you about Clock of Destiny, Moore didn't tell you about RV Bay Publications.
What's that? What Destiny?
Clock of Destiny.
That one I haven't heard before. Proprietary Persona I have.
Yeah.
Clock of Destiny I have not.
What about Ancestral Estate?
Was under the trust, right? When he was talking about building your trust. But Ancestral Estate.
Ancestral. Yeah, Ancestral Estate.
I never heard that. No, I never heard the topic like that, but the teaching was kind of ambiguous, but I think that's what he was touching upon.
Yeah.
That once you place yourself in your persona, then you can go and claim the right of your ancestors.
All right, now let me ask you this: what was the process to get yourself from where you are to in propria persona?
That required us to nationalize. That's what we were taught.
All right.
That you had to nationalize, and in nationalizing, that was going to come with the application, okay, to the USAR.
Or USAR?
USAR.
Oh, let's pull them up, see what that is, just in case we don't know.
What was the other term that you said after that? Clock of Destiny.
Oh, Ancestral Estate.
No, before that, something Destiny.
Clock of Destiny.
Clock? Like clock?
Yeah, clock like Clock of Destiny. And those are two of Charles Mosley-based books that's filed in the Library of Congress. And then there's another document called the Zodiac Constitution.
Is that Zodiac Constitution, is that teaching people about their zodiac and how it is reflective on your life and so forth?
It's leading you there.
Because he did touch on the topic of your zodiac signs, but there was never a mention of Charles Mosley, actually. I didn't remember. But he did go into telling us about the different signs and colors and chakras and all these things.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we're on this USAR website or whatever right now.
Oh, they have a website?
Yeah. USAR, you said, right?
USAR.
Yeah.
United States of America
Republic. Yeah. Yeah. This is them.
Yeah. Right, so, I know they don't have a website.
Yeah. Well, this is the USAR is the main people.
The main people?
Yeah. So when they say they're gonna go file something or whatever.
Yeah.
They're filing it with these people.
Really?
Who are calling themselves United States of America Republic government.
So what does that mean? This is my first I've heard.
That basically means that the work that Noble Drew Ali did with resurrecting the Moorish nation allowed certain people to take that free will that you would call sovereignty and then try to sell the sovereignty back to the people.
Oh wow!
Under the guise of some type of governmental Moorish whatever that's supposed to handle your affairs with dealing with the European, because we're part and partial to them and we have a relationship with them. That's why we have the handshake and all that stuff, because the European and all that. When really what they're doing is selling their people out.
Oh my. Wow. Oh my gosh.
And
oh my God.
And when we look at this is not something that this happened to you and this is something new. This is something that's been going on since the 1920s.
You mean that they were proposing to be nationalizing when they were disguising?
Yes. People have been doing this. People have been doing this. Remember, you're just finding out about nationality right now. Right? Us, we're going 10 years ago, we found out.
Okay.
And then whoever before that, however long it was before they found out. But we're in the generation of the Moors that Noble Drew Ali said would be active with this. Right? What they're doing is posing like they're being active by calling themselves government, by calling themselves republic, by saying they're gonna do some type of process, give me your whatever, and then they turn their back and walk away from you. You think that they're handling something. They're not doing nothing. They're sitting home on their couch or whatever.
Why are they doing that?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, we just look at it as there's those that are for the cause and those that are against the cause. And if you don't know, you're gonna bump into people who are against the cause and get nowhere. Because if you're a divine being, the same way that you connected with the Moor, with the real Moor, right? And then he put you in contact with me. That was divine.
Yeah, because of your association, where you're going, your thinking would lead you on.
Right? Yeah, because mind detect mind.
Yeah.
So our spiritual, antlers are out for those who are trying to find their way in darkness.
Okay, so this is like a good over evil every time.
Exactly. That's just what it is. No matter how much evil, no matter how much BS people try, it's not gonna last long because it's BS.
Oh, thank God. Yes, exactly.
Right? So even directly related to what you're dealing with. You could have been getting out of this. We could have been having this conversation a year from now, opposed to right now. You finding out right now.
That's right. But because of divine intervention.
Exactly. Which is why Noble Drew Ali said that this is a divine and national movement.
Okay.
Because divine plays a part. Matter of fact, did they even mention Noble Drew Ali to you?
Yes, he mentioned him frequently that he started over 100 years ago. Temple was this.
Right.
That his father did it, and then Noble Drew Ali wanted to carry on the work to honor his father.
What? Say that again?
I believe Noble Drew Ali is the son, and his father was the one who started the movement.
That's what they told you?
If I'm remembering correct, yeah.
All right, okay. Yeah, and
his
what else?
Father, he wanted to continue with the work, so they established the temple as a, like, religion is supposed to be like not really the way that people think religion is.
Mm-hmm.
So the temple was not really a religious faction, but it is used as such as a means to support the people spiritually, and also to guide them on the path of nationalizing, I guess.
Right.
That was my understanding from the teaching anyway.
All right. Now, what was there anything confusing to you that we could clear up as far as you're dealing with them?
For me, I'm just wondering about. I introduced the guy to him, as well as my friend here on the line, and when I saw the gentleman and asked him, did he get everything sorted out? He said, yeah, I got my ID and everything already. And I'm thinking, why is it taking so long for me to get mine? I was kind of embarrassed, actually. Because it's been more than 6 months since I made contact with this person.
Yeah.
And in less than a month of me introducing this guy to him, this guy already has his documents and his cards and everything. So how is that happening? Like,
well, so you introduced that individual to him?
Yes.
You sure they didn't know each other before you?
They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't. Because the individual, what he said to me was that about 13 years ago, he knew another guy who said that he had a Morris driver's license and everything. And the guy said he was always wondering, like, how come that guy got all that stuff? Like, what did he do? So he was happy to have made contact again with the organization to figure out how to do it. But
did he tell you how much he paid?
No, he didn't tell me. He didn't even. The guy, once he got everything sorted out, I was kind of surprised. He didn't even return and say, "Hey, thanks a lot for introducing me."
No, that's why.
Anything.
That's why I asked you if you're sure that he didn't know Buddy before you, because these people play serious games out here.
I'm pretty sure he didn't know him before.
Yeah.
But once they spoke, maybe something transpired, because that guy, he phoned me one evening and he said, let me come to your house and print some documents. You have a printer? And I said, well, I know you, but not like that. So you can go to the library down the street. And he said, no, I don't know where the library is. And then I said, well, you could go to the print shop and get it printed, but I can't just let you in my place like that. No.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think he probably took it personal. He might have taken it personal because knowing the individual.
Yeah.
So he went ahead, he did everything somehow, and when I saw him, if I hadn't asked him, he wouldn't have told me. But I don't think he got his card from the third gentleman we're speaking of. I think as fast as he got that application and everything,
Yeah.
it seemed that he went through some other means, which he
Okay.
was obviously not going to share with me.
Yeah.
So that to me was
He showed it to you?
No, he didn't show it to me, but I noticed he had his countenance has changed from how I knew him over the years.
Yeah.
He seemed more confident and more calm in his demeanor,
Yeah.
which suggests that he was holding something that really empowered him, you know?
Yeah.
He was a new being, I could tell.
Well, one of the things also that we teach is that ain't no process, no paper, or no cards is gonna save you.
Right?
So if his countenance is gleaming because he has a card, they played him.
Knowledge is power.
That's the only thing that's power.
Yep.
If somebody is running up to you, beaming, they got a halo and everything, and they're telling you about, yeah, I just got these papers and now I'm sovereign and all that type of stuff, and they start talking like,
it's pretty much that, yes.
Okay, they got played, because I guarantee you they paid for that stuff that they got.
Wow, and they weren't going to tell me anything. So now that I know this, and since I was the one who let them there, I'm not at liberty to share this with them anymore. Do I have an obligation to?
Oh no, they played you. They showed their hand.
Okay. Yep, they sure did.
They opened their jacket and all these cards fell out. So you already know. Forget them.
Well, that was the conversation over the phone on the class on Monday. That all the cards that they had done previously, they have to recall them because there was a problem. Right, you see, they said that, yeah. So maybe I wonder if that I got the message, and that they have to redo them come the new year. Why is that? Do you know why?
No,
he didn't specify. It wasn't specified as to what it was.
Yeah, that'll be their little personal, internal, whatever. But the bottom line of it is that if the perspective is the card or the papers or the whatever is making me whatever you're claiming, then that's not right and exact. That's way off. That's way off. So like way off. You're in the bushes. Way off.
Wow. Okay,
right? Because it's really about us correcting our mindset in order to change our conditions.
I have heard this said by the Amor, who's in Jamaica, actually. He was for more than 12 years, Amor, and he opened up his computer because he's an IT specialist, and he showed us all his documents, his national card, applications, books, files, hundreds, thousands of files that he has on his computer. He opened that up and showed that to us.
Yeah.
From where he is. So, and he said the same thing you just said, that it's more than just the paperwork. It's more than that.
Yeah.
That correctness status had to do with you correcting your inner person.
Right.
Your inner person.
And that's really what it's about.
Right. So my question now to you is, given all that stuff, it seems now we have entered on a new path, and everything we have been told, some of it is useful, obviously as point of reference, and the rest of it we have to now disregard.
Right, and we call that we call that eat the fish and spit out the bones.
Right. So now that we've made contact with you, we're saying to you, basically, someone told us we are not in proper persona.
Right.
We're saying to you, what now? What do we do to get ourselves in proper persona?
All right. So the first thing, like we just spoke about, is about our mindset changing. So we're gonna have to start studying, but you know what we did in high school, college, university, community college, whatever like that, that wasn't studying.
Right. That was what?
That was not studying.
Okay.
We were played even in that, and we paid for that and got nothing.
Right.
Right? That you go to university and they teach you nothing about the universe unless you take that class.
Right.
When it should be a standard thing across the board in the university that you learn about the universe. So the first thing is getting our mindset in the right place so that when it comes to cards and papers or whatever, those things are going to work because our energy is right.
Right, right.
If your energy is messed up, stuff's not going to work. If we've
Who's to say if your mindset is in the right place?
The individual who has the mind.
Okay, who better knows than you, right?
Right, you know, and again when you but again when you're on this path, you don't you're not going to be able to cheat yourself and stuff like that because the Most High is going to slap you.
That's right. That's right. So, it goes back to,
you know,
treating others the way you want to be treated, being that light.
Now again, you know, you can have some karmic debt that you got to pay, that no matter what good you do, stuff's coming down the pike at you.
Oh yeah.
So you know, you can't even get caught up in just do good.
Right.
You don't know what you got covered because of, you know, right? So so once you get through the whole mind thing and you know who you are, then you're gonna start being what you know. That's the second part of it. So
all right. So what if then I say this, that it's possible that you're being who you are without knowing who you are instinctively.
Right. So that would mean that you still have some fine tuning to do.
Yeah.
So like we were talking about people who say that they're Moors. The real ones, you know them because even before they were Moors, they were being Moors and didn't know they were doing that. You know what I mean? So like you know, for example, with me, one of in our years of evolution, a big thing in high school with me, because of the era that we were in, was tie a t-shirt on your head. You know?
What's that for?
Like now I know that I was tying a turban.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh.
And we did that for years. Tie a t-shirt on your head.
So when you put on a tie or a head tie, are you instinctively tying your head?
Yeah, you're instinctively putting on your turban.
Like I'm wearing one right now at home.
All right, at home, right? Because that's how natural it is. Because it was part of our culture, and certain things don't leave you.
Wow.
You know, certain things are not gonna.
That needs your memory, because I know they teach that elephants have memory of how their ancestors survived from 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So if we human beings are more advanced than animals, much more so memory would we have in our DNA.
Exactly. And then, you know, all the cells are brains that have memory. And then the memory has memory. And the subconscious remembers, and the soul remembers, and the spirit remembers.
That's very deep. It is.
Very.
Wow.
But it's
Wow, wow.
it's only that deep if you deal with the right morals. If you deal with the morals that you deal with, you be in water at your ankles forever, and they tell you that you're swimming.
Shallow ground. Okay. Shallow water.
You know, and you're lying in it, and they're convincing you that you're in the ocean.
It's true.
And you could see coral and all that type of stuff, and fish that have, you know what I mean, stuff looking like drapes off them or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're in ankle high water.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and you're paying.
Okay, so what if you say now that I am an awakened one and I'm ready to take on my get my national ID? What do you say to that?
So the first thing you would do before even the ID is letting these people know about your position that you're taking now. Because for the past, the people who are claiming to be government or
governing me, supposedly governing me, right?
The people who are telling you pay taxes on your property and stuff like that.
Okay.
Those
so you
people,
have to first self-identify to them.
You gotta self-identify first, and then make that identity known to them.
Okay. So how do we do
that's
that?
done? Yeah, that's done through doing a name correction, which is an affidavit, just correcting your name from that slave name that is not your ancient foremothers and forefathers' name to your free name, which would be, instead of name, appellation, and you would put your Moorish title of nobility, El Bey de Al or Ali, on it. Okay. Whatever name it is, whatever you choose to say that is, opposed to the one that was on that certificate at birth.
Okay.
Right.
So how long would that process take him?
No, well again, when we start looking at the items again, it means the treadmill's moving too fast. Because once you have the mind, it doesn't matter about the paper. You're gonna say what.
You know what? It's funny you're saying that,
you know what I
because
mean?
I'm saying to people with certain things, mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Matter beats paper.
No, exactly. You know, it's just like people who for how much ever years they've been driving without a license.
What?
Never get stopped.
Yeah, but they've done that.
Never get stopped. Never get a ticket. Never get whatever. Never get a speed trap. Whatever. Never nothing.
Right.
All they do is, and their stuff been expired or whatever for however long. But there's a thin line. There's a thin line.
They're just in line when that happens. Oh. It happened. I've been in those situations, and I was confused when the police let me go.
Yeah.
They pulled me over without insurance and license, and the guy let me go, and I was just flabbergasted.
Yeah, because it's energy.
It's energy.
It's not you didn't have a license or you didn't have a whatever. It's the ancestors are with you. Have a nice day. Drive carefully.
Yeah. I was in another situation and I had no license or insurance. No license. Someone drove into me. They hit me. And when I went to court for the license, because the police officer was intended on bringing me down, so he wrote me a ticket that I had to go to court to defend. And when I got there, and the judge said, "Where's your license?" And the license was expired, so I didn't have any. So I told him. And it was a black judge. And he said to me, "Okay, well, I guess you didn't have the proper license."
Yeah, well, they always have their little loophole.
So years later, I'm thinking that black judge probably he's a Moor secretly.
I mean,
For which
it would be more that he's a Mason secretly.
he said it's because he basically gave me the out. It's because you didn't have your proper license with you, right? And I said, yeah, that's it. I didn't have my proper license.
Yeah.
And that
But it's still but again, it's still tying you to the license, even though you don't have it. So now on the books now, if the situation happens again now, you're supposed to have the license now.
The proper license.
The quote unquote proper license.
Yes.
Right. That's how they would use it to, you know what I mean?
Yes, but that is a catch-22 because the proper license now, that could have been any license.
Right. Yeah. He wasn't specific when law is supposed to be specific. So he didn't say driver's license. So yeah. So you come in and say, you know, oh well, you didn't have the proper license. Oh well, what do you mean the proper license? The proper license is right here. It's, you know, the fishing license.
Right. Wow.
That's not expired because they didn't specify which license.
If
they want to play dumb or whatever, you know, they play dumb, you play dumb.
Right.
But again, you have to be in your proper person when you play dumb with them.
Okay.
Because if you don't have the correct mindset, they're gonna say something and trip you up.
It's all about mindset. It really is.
Once you have the right mindset.
Yeah.
Right. So again, like the Moor said, one of the Moor said in the chat, right? With the correct mindset, you're refuting the license. The license isn't even up for discussion.
Okay, so may I ask you a question then? What do I do in this case? Do I ask for my info back? Because I wasn't charged.
Oh, with regard to the thing. Yeah, you could, of course. That's your private property.
Because it probably won't be done legitimately anyway. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, basically, that's what it comes down to. You can what they're telling you to do, or where they're carrying you or doing whatever for you or whatever. If you're sovereign, you just do that for yourself. What you need them for?
Okay.
Why does a Moor need a middleman to treat him to be a Moor? Shouldn't that Moor just let you know what's up if you don't know? You know what I mean? It's like if the guy's telling you, well, yeah, you know, Jesus is gonna save you after you put 10% in the whatever, and then you're putting your 10% in, then they already know they got you. Because it's a money grab. Because it's the, you know, when you see, for example, when you watch YouTube and you see all these people popping up, whatever, talking about, oh yeah, their online business made $80 million and now they're making some commercials, some BS. The place is saturated with BS right now.
Yeah.
You can't escape BS right now. You're listening to the radio. People are talking about they're popping Percocets. And they're taking Xanax pills. That stuff is on the radio, playing, that people are listening to, and they don't have no problems with it. So there's messed up stuff going on out here. That's why we have a straight and narrow path that we walk. We don't play with not looking at divine first. We don't care what it is. There's a cup. Oh, what's the divine of this cup right here? Let me just, there must be some type of measurement or something like that to make this cup be higher than just a cup. Color of it, whatever.
The divine order of things.
Always. So even if you're looking at a card, there's some divine order of it. What's the divine?
That's how I live. That's my belief. There's always a divine order and structure to things. And if you want to walk in that realm, in that alignment, you need to have that understanding. Always that divine order of things.
Right. And things like that are things that we already have. So when we get the right teachers, when we get with the right individuals who are in the right mindset, and we put all that stuff together, these people are not stopping. That's what you're talking about with ancestors having certain things that these people couldn't touch. Because you have to be in pure persona. Like for example, on my father's side in Tobago, their family has street signs, and people are not telling them that slave master gave them that. Right? Now my dad just built a house, and he put his own sign for his street or whatever, because there was no sign there. Because they're coming from the mindset that this is my land. Like what do you mean? Like what permission from some European to do what? What do you mean? Permission from some governmental whatever for what? Like this is my land right here. The government people aren't here. What they got to do with my stuff? And we're just taking that mindset and expanding on it, bringing it onto the mainland. And then in our jurisdiction, we're saying, oh no, we're not wards of the crown. We're not the queen's subjects. Like what do you mean queen has jurisdiction over who? This is not Canada. This is Morocco. We're Moors. We have our own identification. We don't need you guys stuff. But
they know, sorry to cut in. They know that we don't know. So each time when we think that we're being rejected from some entity which they've created, it's because they know that we don't know ourselves.
Exactly.
And that we don't know where we belong. And so they're wondering, why are these people here? Don't they know who they are?
Right.
Obviously they
remember where we're at, right? Remember where we're at. No matter where you go, right? No matter where you go, whether it's Brampton, Mississauga, Toronto, Ajax, Whitby, Durham, whatever, right? No matter where you go. For us, it's a black community. For somebody else, it's a nation. It's a Chinese community, or a Turkish community, or a Hindu community, or you don't hear these people talking about the yellow community and brown community and orange community and whatever. They don't talk like that.
I've always said that. But there's another. There is no black community. Where's the black community? Exactly. That's being suggested. They're always, we want to address the violence in the black community.
Exactly.
Where's the black community?
Right. No, but that's exactly what it is. Just like you said earlier.
When I say that, I say with the youth, with our youth. There's no black community. The genocide within our youth. There is no black community. When these people get shot, they could be anywhere in the GTA, Brampton, or Mississauga. Where is the black community? The housing project is not black community because it's a mixture of people living there. So where's the black? Depends what area, though. To be honest, depends what area. Do you know
just
an
like
area?
Okay, look.
Only black people living there?
Look at it like this, right? Look at it like this. Do you hear about Chinese on Chinese crime?
No.
Do you hear about
it happens?
We know for sure that it happens, but do you hear about it though? Oh, you never hear about it. Why? Because nations are not gossipers.
That's right.
Nations don't talk their business. We talk our business because we don't know ourselves. We don't know how to shut the hell up.
It's true.
Right? We have a you know how much I seen I can't remember who it was, yo. Oh no, it was BJ Armstrong, right? Chicago Bulls basketball, whatever like that. I'm looking at this man's shoes. He's wearing Keds or whatever. Like, how are you wearing Keds and you're billionaire, millionaire, trillionaire or whatever like that? You're wearing T-shirt, no name brand or whatever? Because what? They don't tell certain stuff.
They don't tell. Yeah, they don't air their dirty laundry, so to speak.
We love to talk our stuff.
That's true.
And if we're not talking it, we're living it right there so everybody could see or whatever. And especially nowadays. You know, we got World Star and all this other BS where we could upload all our BS to so the world could see how much BS we're about.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is so true.
Right? But again, why is that happening? Because Noble Drew Ali told us that we should have had our own stuff so that we can tell our story. Forget what people are telling us about our story. How about we tell our own story? How about we have our own newspaper?
Yep.
How about we have our own? But remember, that's all the things.
That's what we're working on.
That's all the things.
Yeah.
And the only way it's gonna happen is if you have a nationality. If you're Negro, Black, colored, African, some colonized European corporation or whatever like that, certain stuff don't apply to you. And they'll play the game with you and have you running the treadmill forever. While other people are making progress and you're just on the treadmill and they're driving around, you're running a treadmill and you don't know what's going on. And it's not connecting that, oh yeah, those people never say that they're a color or a shade or a continent or a whatever. They say they're a nationality. Real simple.
People. But the thing is, we can't go around saying even Jamaican people because I know, like, my network has people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the Europeans that I know me saying to me, "Oh, I went to Jamaica. I was in Jamaica, and then what they've been taught about us is that we were slaves.
Right.
So Jamaica is slaves, right? They even refer to us as the slaves have really built up this part of the world for themselves.
Yeah.
They refer to us as such. In the schools, when it's Black History Month, so-called Black History Month, at my son's school, which is a Jewish school, I remember saying to the teacher, "Why are you replaying the Harriet Tubman scenario every year at this stuff?" And I said to her, Black history or our story is so vast. It goes far back to the beginning of time. I said, so on the journey, I mean, what you're doing really is focusing on one little aspect of our existence. You're perpetuating the trauma from our story. I said, don't you want to tell the whole story or find a different point in the story that you want to share as opposed to just the gory details? And the teacher was like, well, she's going to take a survey with the other parents, the other asleep parents, and find out if they're okay with it. And she did. And she said, well, she did the survey and the other parents were okay with it. And they all came out on the night off. Here's what they do. They are doing a makeshift slave underground railroad. So they turned the entire school into the underground railroad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You can go there and you can pretend to be running and hiding in the dark, and you go in different classrooms where you're hiding under desks, chairs, and tables. And who's going to get shot if they're not able to keep quiet? They basically are just replaying this scene every year. So from grade 1 to 6, school, and they're going there. By the time they come out, you can tell by the body language of the Black child that they just look so soft and so dumbed down.
Yeah.
What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that really what they're doing is a ritual.
It's a ritual. Keyword. I have one for you.
It's a ritual.
Let me tell you something. I had a meeting at UFT because we were releasing something that we had done, a report on radicalization of hate and youth crimes and all of that. And afterwards, I spoke to one of the professors at UFT, and I'm just saying this to tell you the mindset and his comments to this day. This was over a week ago, has not left me. I went to the gentleman. Mind you, he is a UFT professor that has traveled the world to do these studies, and it's part of his research is in this release, right? So I said to him afterwards, part of the perpetual violence and the economy of our youth, the poverty. I touched on that very same thing, Marissa, saying that year after year, I said this rabbit hole is very deep because they're constantly, I said, I work in a school and all they're ever hearing year after year is the same stories of slavery. All they're hearing is slavery. They're not hearing about the contributions prior to slavery, and even in the fact that not everyone was enslaved. You don't want to know what this gentleman said to me. He tried to brush it off and said to me, oh, well, everybody has their own story, and we can't tell which is which anymore because everybody has their. But I said it's documented, the contributions that we have made.
Yeah, but see, with that's the issue.
I couldn't believe that.
The contributions.
I can, but I mean, this is a scholar.
Look at it like this. Look at it like this. They have something to lose always. They're not giving up their check to tell any truth. They're not giving up their check to tell truth because they're contracted.
And they're cussing us. You know that? They are cussing us off in their own language. I've come to realize lately.
Yeah.
When I translate what they say into my native tongue, I hear them cussing us. For example, the Akan tribe. Are you familiar with the Akans in Jamaica?
Yeah.
So the Jamaicans have approached Scotland about reparations, right? I am reading the Scottish newspaper, and it says on there that our native Jamaicans are reaching out to us for reparations. And I mean, after all, after 200 years of slavery on the land and all these things that occurred and what we did, they're basically bragging about what their position and their status over the years.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Yeah, of course we should. They do deserve it. I mean, after all, the economy is really sucks basically, and now they're reaching out to us for a little help. I mean, that's not going to change our situation. So what is going to hurt us? Did you hear them? They're telling us off that, okay, so we did all this stuff to you, and now you're coming to us, asking us to repair it. Okay, and they're telling us off all the time, but we're not picking up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay?
You know what? I don't know. Like, okay, what really annoys me is the fact that the so-called Jewish people, Jewish, which we all know they're not the real Jews, but whatever. Every year, they never let you forget the Holocaust.
They never. World War. Says never forget. That's their.
But how many Holocausts has there been with us?
Yeah, but the difference is that they were at least smart enough to call themselves something that has some credibility.
True. All right.
They didn't call themselves a fiction. They jacked somebody's original name, called it on themselves.
Yes.
and
Yes,
now
That's
ran
right.
away with somebody's birthright because they're too
that's
dumb
right.
to realize
That's
that
it.
that's really them.
Mhm, yeah.
And now they're mad now that these people are doing what they're doing. Oh, you're mad now. You already dropped the ball. That's why they're calling themselves Jew and ruling the world. Because the Jews were ruling with the Moors. So what do? Some of them pretending to be Moors by saying that they're Masons, and the other them are pretending to be
Wow.
Jews. The Jews and the Moors ruling again. But it's not the real Jews and the Moors ruling. It's imposters. Because the real
Yeah.
Jews and the Moors, you have one bunch of them calling themselves Black Hebrews or whatever, and then you have the other ones calling themselves Negro, Black, Colored, and everything else under the sun.
Mhm. Wow.
Lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce. Drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's too late after you drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about drinking the Kool-Aid. You know? And I was gonna say too, they were talking about when we were talking about them teaching what they're teaching, you know, with regard to Black History Month and talking about certain people or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
They can talk about those people, but let them talk about it in the right perspective. You know, let them talk
Yeah.
about you know Harriet Tubman. Her name's Araminta.
Oh wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Araminta Ross.
Araminta Ross.
Yeah, and then Ross comes from
Wow.
Welsh. Roche are
Well,
Welsh.
They're always giving us names, huh?
Yeah, Ross. But check this though. Ross comes from Welsh. RHOS, meaning more.
what?
Harriet Tubman we're talking about right now.
Wow. Wow.
You know, Rosa Parks, she's out in the front because she's not Black.
She's not?
Right? The Black people go to the back, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't Black. She never classified herself as those damn labels.
Oh, that's why she didn't go to the back.
Yeah, because she's not Black. Not because she's trying to defy somebody. She's not Black. She's sitting in the front. Like,
People, they were aware
wow, man.
given to them.
Say that again?
Was she one of the people who were aware of the identity theft and the new identity being imposed on them?
She was aware of something if she was defying going to the Black section.
Wow.
Clearly, it's not about being Black if she didn't go back there.
Right. And they didn't kill her, which is kind of strange.
Exactly.
Yeah, because she wasn't Black. So they have no jurisdiction over her. They can't take her in the back and lynch her. She's not a runaway slave. She's not a Negro.
Wow.
She's not a nigger. So they can't they can't give her nigger treatment if she's not nigger.
Right. So was she part of those groups of persons who their lineage was already here before the slavery thing came?
Yeah, well, you know, if her name's Araminta, she's from over here, and that's a Hebrew name, and we already know, you know what I mean? We're not in Israel right now over here. Obviously, she been here, and her family been here. So no, some new stuff. They just came over here on some slave ship, and she has a Hebrew name.
If they did come on the slave ship, I think those people were stunted by being thrown into a new environment. So where would they get the courage or the even know-how to be traveling far north?
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Why would they follow the North Star? If they came over here from Africa, why would they follow the North Star?
Why would they? Yeah, what reason would they have to be following the North? Oh my Lord!
Obviously, they're from over on this side, right? Same thing when they talk about Black Wall Street. You know, Black Wall Street.
Tell me.
All those people from Black Wall Street were quote unquote Indians from the Trail of Tears. When they were kicking all the Indians out of all the states or whatever to make them states what you see today. And they kicked all the Indians out of all the different states who were looking like us or whatever. And then
because they were copper tone, they were like the dark like us, right?
Exactly. And we built ourselves that community that they call Black Wall Street. Anybody was calling nothing black during those times because that was derogatory.
Oh.
During the time of Black Wall Street, you didn't want to be called black.
You called them colored back then, didn't they?
They didn't want that either.
No, they didn't.
So, what the purpose of the Moorish Science Temple is to teach our people about themselves in these kinds of ways, in this kind of conversation that we're having.
Exactly. On a mass scale.
Yeah.
On a mass scale.
Can anyone, anywhere in the world, be under these Moorish Science Temples, since they are more, as you said?
Well, in the teachings of the temple, the declaring or proclaiming the nationality is limited to America, because Moorish Science Temple of America.
Oh, because of that classification, America.
Because Noble Drew Ali presented himself to his people that needed him the most.
Oh.
Which were the people who were assuming that they came over here on slave ships thinking that they're Negro, black, colored, and whatever else they thought they were. Right? And that their true lineage was that they're Moors. They're the ancient seafarers. They're the navigators of the planet. No, so people who are anywhere else, they would be able to say they're Moor. But if they're not from the Americas, then it doesn't really apply to them like that. But more would apply to them. Declaring that they're a Moor, declaring that they know who their ancient foremothers and forefathers were Moors, and that they're not Negro, black, colored, because regardless of where you go in the world, guaranteed they're classifying us as Negro, black, colored.
Yeah.
Or African, or some type of, created fiction as far as identity.
My Lord.
So nationalizing, right, through you guys, it sends a notice to the different governing bodies.
Right. So instead, opposed to, because what we're looking at with the jurisdiction here is that there's no superior jurisdiction here that we can say there's a head of Canada or whatever. Canada's corporate, that's just as corporate and owned by United States.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why John said that it was open for business.
Right. Because it's really,
they're telling us the time.
It's really colonial corporations. Right.
Did
so
you know that they're starting up a Republic of Canada, because there are a few people, Canadians, who know about this, and they say that they're not obligated to the crown, to the queen.
Yeah. So what they need to do is go back to Europe if they want to talk all that stuff there, because this is Morocco.
Yeah, they're actually making. There's a movement right now where they're calling people. They like, come, let's put our claim together.
Yeah, and what are they doing? And what are they doing?
Yeah.
Stealing your birthright, because this is not Europe. They can't do that here unless the Aboriginal people, who are us, tell them they can do that.
Okay. Oh my God.
Because this is this is not a jurisdiction for them to create their own thing. This is a jurisdiction for them to get under us. If they want to go back to whatever, because they realize that Canada government is whatever. Okay, you don't create your own stuff. You go back to the foundation.
To the foundation.
You don't do your own stuff. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, you know, when they tried to pull some new stuff on us that we're Negro black colored, he went back to the foundation. No, we're not that. We're Morris. What you mean Negro black what?
Okay. And you're saying that Rosa Parks knew that?
Had to.
Marcus Garvey, right?
Right? Because Garvey was a Maroon.
They're Morris, right?
And then Maroons are Moors.
I want to share something with you. There is a hotel in Jamaica across the street from the National Stadium. It's called the Alhambra Inn.
Oh, look at that.
When we stayed there, I noticed that they had ancient artifacts throughout the lobby area.
Yeah.
Those would be what the Moors used to use, their pots and their irons and
exactly.
their clothes, sorts of things. But there is no owner. If you research the hotel, it doesn't say who owns it or who's their corporate body. Okay? So I was researching further into what is the meaning of this Alhambra. And I found that there's a Alhambra Palace in Spain.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And I said, this has to be connected. This is so broad and so wide. Palace, I tell you, Spain. And also, Spain, the Palace in Alhambra is in a place called Granada, Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in Jamaica, there is a Grenada Street.
Yeah.
Wow. Grenada, Alhambra Inn, Grenada Street, Alhambra Palace, Granada, Spain. Then there is our Grenada, island of Grenada. I think it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Grenada. Jamaica, Jamaica has no history, only a story about slavery. So basically, we don't know what transpired on that land. I think there was probably some massive bloodshed that took place, and they want to keep it hidden. I think that something really tremendous went down on that land. That's why the places are left with the name Bay, Morant Bay, and all these bay areas.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because that whatever battle and bloodshed that transpired there, nobody was gonna win. Bob Marley did say the truth has never been told. We don't know. We don't know what really transpired there.
But like you say, based on the place names, we know exactly what transpired there.
Yeah.
And what has to transpire. It's not about what was done, it's about what we're gonna do moving forward.
Yeah, forward. In regards to what Marissa was saying, piggybacking on that.
Well, we're gonna say camelback. Camelback, because we don't.
I know camel, right? Camelback. Sorry, you're right. That just reminded me of the library in Brazil that burnt down in the summer. Now, the connection I made to that, and even researching behind that, how it went up in flames. It was like an inferno, right? They had a lot of historical information dating back 200 years, artifacts.
Yeah.
And Brazil is going through something like that. The Brazilians, there's some type of uprising.
So that burning down of the library was done intentionally.
Of course.
Wow.
But again, because once the people start waking up to the truth, once people start waking up to the truth of what's going on, then you start realizing that, they're ready to do something about it.
Yeah.
And the best way to do it is to destroy the culture. Because once the people have no reference points, you could tell them whatever and they'll go with it.
Do you guys ever watch the show The Agenda? No, I've
The
never heard of
Agenda,
that.
no, I never heard that
on
show.
TV. I was watching it last night, and they had an indigenous lady on there. They were talking about reparations and returning. The topic was, should they be returning all the artifacts and things that were the spoils of war to the nations who supposedly own them? Because there are a lot of nations around the world now who are making claims to the Europeans and saying that you have our belongings in your museums and we want them for our people. And some of them, they got ignored, and others, they actually did return some of the belongings. But it was a debate as to whether or not those people still own their belongings, or if the victor goes the spoil. Now, there was a lady, a professor from University of Toronto speaking, and I had to record this because here's what she said. She said, well, it's long been the Western world's way to go into these nations and to strip them of their culture and their language as a tactic, war tactic, basically. Because when you strip the people of their identity, their culture, and their history, then they are demoralized, basically. No point of reference, and they have to come groveling to you, and it is a war tactic. The lady said that right there on the TV, and I want to make a clip of this and record it because I send it out to everyone I know, because I was just blown away when she said that. I mean, I've always heard it said by our people, but to hear it coming out of her mouth, you know?
Yeah, and again, she's letting you know that everybody knows. No secret. No secret of what has to happen, what should happen, what should be done. Everybody knows, but it's not going to happen to these people when they're claiming to be things that they're not.
That they're not. So do you think that in order for them, the people who hold high positions in office, they know this stuff about us?
Oh, yeah.
So that if you went to them and said, look, the jig up is up, all right? I'm coming to you right now, and I'm letting you know this is who I am, and, just let me be my free person on the land, and how would we proceed? Exactly.
Well, if we're like, you mean you're talking about if they give up everything?
Yeah, or this meaning that we're going to relinquish any so-called Canadian citizenship status, and for example, Dree right now, he's not a citizen here. He's been here since 2006.
Yeah, but again, we're talking citizen of what? Because if you're a citizen of Walmart, then
citizen of Canadian Tire.
No, right? Because Canadian Tire has their own money, so don't think that's not a country or whatever.
Canadian Tire citizenship,
right? Just how crazy that sounds, like that is just how crazy it sounds. Canadian citizen and U.S. citizen and all that. The only thing that comes up is just like with the driving without the license. If they don't stop you, You have no issues with these people if they don't stop you. You know what I mean? And you have to be of some messed up energy for them to stop you. Something must be up with you. If you're doing the rules of the road and making the signal and checking the mirror and all that stuff, ain't no way nobody should be stopping. If you're getting stopped, something's wrong with your energy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So for example, there's a Moor right now who he even did time. And because of the time that he even did, he was supposed to get deported. They didn't deport him because he appealed the decision that they made. When he went in to put the appeal, they were like, well, we're going to deny the appeal, but we're going to send you this office, go talk to these people over here. He went and talked to those people over there, and those people haven't bothered him ever since.
Wow.
Because they want him, they're telling him he has to go to the Jamaican government, get something from the Jamaican government saying he's Jamaican for them to be able to deport him. You heard that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He went through the whole thing. In the end, because he told them who he is, and he put his status on the record to them, and he let them know, I'm not that name that you guys have on your paper. Don't even go there with me. I have a nationality. They said, okay, fine. They said, fine. If that's your position, then in order for us to do whatever, you need to go to them and get something from them saying you're Jamaican so we could do something. All right, I'll see you tomorrow when I go get that stuff.
Well, yeah.
So I have a question. Dree, okay, sorry, scrap that. I wanted a new thought. I met this Italian man, an old man, on my son's field trip. So I asked, I was testing what I was learning. I asked him, I said, so are you a Canadian citizen? And he said, no, for what? I said, how long have you been in Canada? He said, I've been here 42 years. So why don't you have citizenship? He said, well, what? Why should I pay somebody to come to pay them taxes? That's crazy. And I said, God, is it only us that don't know this?
It's only us that are the dumbasses. Nobody else is a dumbass but the Negro black colored people.
So he said, Marissa, why should he have citizenship? To pay somebody up?
Pay somebody to pay them taxes.
Why now check what you said, right? Why would I pay somebody so I can pay them taxes?
I'm gonna write that down.
That's serious. That's serious.
That is serious.
Saying that. So then it dawned on me, I said, oh my God, is it only us alone that don't know this?
Yeah. We're the only ones that don't read.
Pay somebody so I could pay them taxes.
Right. So again, going back again to, so you put them on notice with your name correction, your proclamation, that this is the stance that you're taking. You're not Negro, black, colored. You have ancient foremothers and forefathers. You have a flag. You have a culture. You're not a ward of these people. You're not property of them. You have your own stuff that you're standing on because you're Aboriginal, indigenous to the land, and they don't have jurisdiction over you if you're not their ward.
Okay, so
and then you put them on
the Declaration of Independence now.
Say that again.
You've touched on the Declaration of Independence. Now, how do you, from where we stand now and what we managed to get done with the brother, right? where do we go from here on paper? Well, in person, I think I believe I've been operating in proper person without any notification to them.
Right.
So I have an affidavit here of proper persona. Is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm.
Affidavit of truth.
Right.
Yes, I have that. He did that one for me. Am I supposed to take it and give it to the governing bodies? This
No.
I was never.
Yeah. Well. Remember that there's guilt by association. So I wouldn't be using anything that those people gave you or
Nothing.
Or loaned you or sold you or gave you for free, or you thought they were genuine and they gave you a button and then now you found out they're dirty, but because they were genuine when they gave you the button, you keep the button. Burn all that stuff.
Gosh. Really? So I got to start the process all over again?
But it's not all over because they just freed you. Because remember, you could have found out a year from now opposed to right now.
Right.
Always remember that you could have found out 2 years from now after you gave them 15,000.
Right. Okay.
Opposed to right now when you only gave them what you gave them and you still got away with your body.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
They actually released you by being dirty. Like they actually freed you. Like you were saying when you called me before we called the second time, that you felt that something was released after we talked. Because that's really because these people are vampires. They're leeches. That's how you feel if a leech is on you, sucking
I
you.
had to take time to detox it.
Yeah.
To get it up.
Yeah.
I really did.
I'm still processing this in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
even though I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like, even though this, I don't know.
Right. Just like one of the more said in the chat. It's like you could also look at it like you could have found out 2 years after they turned you off of nationality and birthrights too. Like this could have been the last straw for you and you never even deal with this ever again. Until 2 years from now when something crazy goes on and then you realize that, damn, I should have stayed on this from 2 years ago when those guys played me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're still here. You're still in the runnings. Like it's not over yet. Stuff just started. You know what I mean?
You think I need to relinquish everything, all documents and the bank accounts, any affiliation with them?
Yeah, like what? Like, I mean, okay, for example, how many things did you do with them that you put L or Bay or Al or Day or Ali on it?
None.
Oh, so you didn't do anything. Like that's how they played you. That they're talking to you about do some processes and sign some papers or whatever like that, and they're not even telling you to put your free national on it. They're not even telling you to put your Bay or L on it. But when you talk to them, they have Bay and L though, right?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay. So how does he have Bay and L, and then you don't know about your Bay and L yet, but he knows?
Yeah.
Well, he taught us about that actually. He did say that you could add that, but when he was responsible for my documents, why didn't he add that in there?
No, yeah, because that's what you're going there for.
Exactly.
This is how they're playing people.
Oh my God.
Like think about this, right? Think about this, right? A Chinese guy goes to a Chinese guy, right? And the Chinese guy is paying the other Chinese guy to make him a Chan.
Yeah, make him something that he already is.
Oh, all right. It's real easy when we use other people instead of ourselves. It's real easy. When we use ourselves, that's the only time we get confused and we don't know what the hell's going on. Every time we use ourselves as an example, stuff gets messed up. You know what I mean? Looking at our conditions. How come we live in the ghetto and whatever like that? No, don't look at us. Look at the people who aren't in the ghetto and ask yourself, how come they're not? Looking at ourselves and getting all confused. And then start talking about, oh, it's because they're racist and because they're whatever. Well, yeah and no, not really.
Knowledge separates people.
Right.
Or bring them together. Knowing.
Exactly. That's why it's up to the people to seek knowledge for themselves so they can resonate on a certain frequency with other people who are seeking knowledge for themselves, resonating on a certain frequency, and then those people get together and get some stuff done that's supposed to be done.
That's what we're after right now.
And that's what it's about. The issue is that, you know, you got with people who weren't resonating, period. They don't have any frequency. Like when you say like when you say dead cells, right? Dead battery, dead appliance, dead speaker, dead phone, whatever. It's just sitting there. It's not really serving no purpose to you. You got it, but it's not serving purpose to you because there's no energy in it. Look at even with the paperwork, no energy there.
No, it was nothing.
You know what I mean? It's just.
I was like, why do I have all this thing here and nothing?
Right.
I have all and nothing. That's what it was.
So it's not you know, we can play the game of you know, get mad and frustrated and getting our feelings and our emotions because we spent some finance or whatever like that. But trust me, you could have been like the people who spent $5 grand.
Wow.
People spent $5 grand.
I think that money is energy. It is energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have it at whatever. I already suspected before this divine intervention. I said something's gonna happen to this guy. I don't know what it is.
No, well, hey,
something is not right.
We're looking at years. Something should have happened, and we're looking at what kind of rituals they got that nothing happened yet.
Wow.
Like we're looking at it on some different levels because it's not like, you know, it's not like we're we got in the past maybe month about 8 people we were in contact with that were in contact with them. That when they bump into us, they're like, what the hell are you guys talking about? They ain't tell me none of this.
Wow.
Like, what do you mean we speak for an hour and you told me more than the 6 classes I went to with them? And then why aren't they telling people about you guys or us? Like, how come I had some divine intervention to find you? Because that's how we set our stuff up. Our stuff's not set up that we got flyers and we got stuff promoting, and then you're gonna come to our spot on a day when the door is open, and then you're gonna know what's going on. Allah's gonna send you to us. The ancestors are gonna guide you to us. And that's how we get found. We don't get found because people are looking for us. We get found because people are seeking knowledge. This is beyond us. We just have a certain level of knowledge that we know the people need, that the people can use, and we know that other people have it too, but they're playing club games with it, opposed to it's the people's stuff, get on their stuff, stop playing with them.
Do you know that, well, you don't know, but when I went to sign the documents, like a storm rose up inside of me, and where it said that if you have any reservations about this, don't sign it. And I thought to myself, something intuitively said to me, am I signing my life away here? Am I signing away the life for myself and my kids?
Nah.
And I had stopped myself, and I went and I prayed about it because I'm a risk taker.
Right.
I prayed about it and I said, I don't want to know that I am just like tarnishing the work, the blood, and the sweat that my ancestors went through to get me to where I am today, even if this is not the end of where I'm supposed to be. So I prayed about it, and then I signed the paper, trusting that if it is not to be, then I would be guided in the right direction eventually. So it's so funny that you said that, you know, spiritually, you would be brought to the divine place. Because it is like if you were in deep waters and the angels came, and right at that moment when you were in too deep, they just came and swooped you right out.
Right.
This is like for me. This is kind of like my experience right now.
Right.
So they wouldn't allow it to go any further, okay?
Exactly.
That it's gone already.
Exactly.
That's why. So basically, that's why we never got an answer. He couldn't answer us. He couldn't come contact us, and there was nothing more he could do. He couldn't go any further, and neither we're over here wondering. But then it also, I was guided to say, leave it alone. Just let it rest, and you'll see what happens.
Right.
This is where we are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. You know, so we have we have the classes out at Eglinton and Keele. 2530 Eglinton West. And
So address 7530?
2530.
2530 Eglinton West.
Yeah. Yeah. Sundays at 12 p.m.
Okay, so how many where I am right now in the process, and I'm gonna have to destroy all these documents and everything. Is there
No, you
someone
could.
there?
I mean, as far as the stuff that you got,
Yeah.
you can keep them because it's also evidence of treason. It's evidence of corruption. It's evidence of misappropriation of Moorish nationality and birthrights.
Okay.
It's misrepresentation. You know, I mean, everything is. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there someone there in the temple who actually works with people or guide you through the process if you do want to get these things done?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it the premise that you have to, because he did say this, you have to come to the class and you have to nationalize first.
No, well.
When I said, what happens next now after this? Well, nothing's going to happen if you don't nationalize. And I felt kind of cornered, like.
Now think how crazy this is. Think about this now, right?
Yeah.
You can't do anything till you nationalize, but he has you signing papers without you nationalize.
Well, there were a lot of contradictions in the things he said.
Yeah.
A lot. For example, where he said that lien was rejected, and I said to him, he emailed me and said, we cannot proceed because the lien was rejected. In our verbal conversation, I said, well, so the lien was rejected. I need to go to New York, right? He said, no, you don't have to go there. If you know someone there who can file it for you, then we just give you the application, the forms, and then you can give it to them and they can go and file it for you. And I said, but you said it was rejected. He said, no, it wasn't rejected. It was, you can't file it from here. You have to do it over there.
Yeah.
But I have the written word where he wrote to me and said the lien was rejected.
Yeah.
I have a written word where he said it was rejected, but obviously keep up with the facade.
Yeah.
So he went back on his own word and telling me that, oh, no, I didn't say it was rejected.
Yeah. But that's how, but again, too, that's, you know, these new age people always play themselves with technology. Because they forget what they just said or what they just sent somebody or whatever, because they're playing this game so much with people. You know what I mean? This is not some. Say again.
Go ahead. It reminds me of that hip hop song, you know, playing yourself.
Yeah.
You're playing it
Yeah.
with all your rock, and all your da da da.
Yeah.
You're playing yourself.
Jeru.
Not again, but was it Gangstar or one of them? Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
That address was 2530 Eglinton Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on Friday, this Friday, we have movie night where we pretty much just link up and watch Moorish themed movies or TV series or whatever like that, and have discussions about it. The other week, the other Friday, so every other Friday is Civics Booster Club, and that's just civic meetings that we have, just dealing with anything having to do with law or any jurisprudence, whatever. And then Sundays we have our Sunday class, and then the flyers that I sent you, that I text you, those are for the class and also for the Noble Juali Day celebration we have coming up in January.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing that. We've been doing that for 8 years. So this is our 9th one, and we're going to be doing it at Flemington Park Community Center, Don Mills, Eglinton area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does religion, if you're going to a church already, how does that play into our involvement with your center?
Well, Noble Juali said that some of his best Moors are in the church, and we take that two ways. We take that as some of his best Moors are in the temples, the Moor science temples that are being run like churches, and some of his best Moors are unconscious Moors who are actually still in church, but they know something's up with that, but don't know how to maneuver out of it, type of thing. So it's people who are quote unquote in church. We know that they have an affinity or a high respect or a very prestigious position with regard to Jesus. So we use our holy book, which is the Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple of America, to teach people about the 18 years of Jesus' life that's not in their holy Bible. Right? So that way they can get the true lessons that they were supposed to get from the Son of God. But you know, as far as Moor Science Temple of America, our religion is Islamism, or man being Allah in the flesh. I self Allah master, Islam.
So are we going to get our national cards to your temple?
Yeah. You would get it too. You would get your the proclamation papers, the name correction papers, the nationality cards or whatever. You would be able to get through our temple.
How long does that take?
Yeah, exactly.
6 months? I'm kidding.
Under 6 months for sure.
Okay.
Under 6
And
months for
is
sure.
this a requirement that you attend a certain amount of classes first?
Well, what we used to do, or what we've done, is there's a bunch of classes on our Canaanland Moors YouTube page called Back to Basics. And what we came up with was that, you know, for people who are gravitating to this information, it's not wise for them to just jump in the deep end the first time they go to the Olympic swimming pool. So we set up a bunch of classes. It's approximately 30 classes that anybody who's being introduced to this, go through those 30 classes as the quote unquote initiation or whatever to see if you're really down with this. Because the classes are about 2 hours long or whatever. So, you know, put that in hours and, you know, that's the time you got to put in. However long it takes you to get through the 30 classes, by the time you get to class number 30, you should be straight as far as anything this is relative to, because we give you references, we give you, you know, other websites and other pages to go study from, show you not to study from, show you the perspective you should have opposed to what you shouldn't have. You know, it's a introduction to your nationality and birthrights. You know, and once you go through that, you know, we're looking at that as being quote unquote the time that you put in to see it, you know, if you're ready. And then I think majority of people, based on, you know, when you go on it, you'll see the views or whatever in it. People are using it for that. A way to, if you want to call it, fast tracking. Because we're literally telling you the best places to go, opposed to you having to find out yourself and go through what you went through 10 more times with 10 more dirty Moors who are out there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Opposed to going through that. You know what I mean? Just deal with it this way and save yourself the hassles. But some people, they want to do their own thing, so they go out there and then in 6 months they be calling me talking about, yeah, I met this Moor, I tried to do whatever. And, you know, now that 6 months they can't get back because they should have just stuck to the program. They wouldn't have had no problems.
Okay. I have a lot of time sensitive legal matters.
Yeah, those stuff we'll some of it we spoke about today. And I think we'll still
there is so much more, and I'm gearing myself up to start writing up these letters and sending out notifications, but I'm not in my proper persona.
Yeah, and again,
mitigate that circumstance.
Yeah, well, it's really just getting familiar on rvbaypublications.com.
Okay.
rvbaypublications.com. You go on that website and you can start off at the Return of the Matriarch page.
Okay.
You can start there, and then from there go wherever spirit guides you. And again, like we were saying with the things that you're dealing with, just the first thing to do is prioritize them.
Yeah, I already have a list.
Yeah, so the ones that are at of most importance, deal with those first, and then you deal with them going down the line. If it's a thing like you're saying, you have these matters and you've had mismanagement, you know, like you were saying, you know, people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing or whatever like that. At least make some type of call to everybody. Let them know that you're gonna be handling these affairs. And if everything could be put on some type of hold till you figure out some things, because, you know, as you know, you have documented evidence of people mismanaging.
Yes.
And to deal with all of them by writing all of them is gonna take you more time than you just pick up the phone, call them up.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And this is just to let them know, hey, I see you guys sent the thing dealing with the whatever. We're gonna deal with that. But something happened with regard to the person who was handling the stuff, and I'll get back to you in, you know, whatever, 7 days, 8 days, or whatever time frame you want to give them.
Okay. I have a pretty serious situation, which I don't mind speaking in front of you guys, but
I discovered that because my obstetrician didn't take my files from the hospital in a timely manner, it caused my baby to die.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have all the evidence gathered, including all the ultrasounds and timelines and everything. But that's something, she basically did that deed and then she ran off. She told me, check back with me in 6 weeks for your follow-up, but she just disappeared and wasn't taking my calls.
Mm-hmm.
And to go through the medical board, they've said that, sure, you can come and tell us the story of what happened to you, but there will be only so much that we can do. So
yeah, so whoever she is and whoever she worked for, you just take them to federal court.
Oh, okay.
And
do
deal
you
with
guys have
it that way.
Sorry?
Go ahead, say that again.
Do you guys have people there at the temple who can guide people through this sort of scenario?
There are people who used to be in that field, we'll say, because like we're saying, once you come into nationality and birthrights, everything that you know now is your intellectual property.
Okay.
So people who have certain skills, for example, that they went to whatever school and got their little degree or whatever. Degree means nothing because knowledge is mental, not a paper. So now they're taking those skills and they're assisting the Moors.
Oh, I see.
So, for example, one of the Moors who was in that field, because he's come to the temple and he's, getting into this information, he's new too, but he's in the field. A Moor called him with a situation, and him and the Moor called me from the situation, you know what I mean? Which let me know, okay, well, these people, at least the Moor has that side of the fence. He has some assistance.
Okay.
Because that individual is really not working for that side like that. They're on our side. They just have the badge of that side.
Right. You were trained one way, now
right,
you know who you are.
Spook at the door. So he can get through certain doors that we can't get through as Moors.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So on that level, things relative to that, there's people that you can refer to, or that you can be referred to, I should say, that would try to help you out or whatever.
That's great.
One of the Moors, and then one of the Moors in the chat said, don't forget about saving yourself, because the reality is that no other Moor can save you but yourself, Moor.
Right. Now, Dree, I was about to touch on this, but I forgot. Dree's residency is about to expire. What should he do? Does he need to come to you guys to get his status straightened out, or should he go and renew under this corporation?
Yeah. Well, look at the under the RV Bay, the same website, RV Bay Publications. Just familiarize himself with the section called prisoners in your own land.
Okay.
Just to have a perspective. And then again, between today and tomorrow, we'll email you some things that you could look through as far as the paperwork and all that, so you can get that in your mind and in your soul, in your heart.
Okay.
Because this really has to do with energy and how much are you willing to put in to get the outcome that you're supposed to get. Because we've been doing things lackadaisical as Negroes and blacks for however long we've been doing it. So once we find out about this, it's not like we're starting from this. Like, we have to detox all that BS that we've been doing for the past 30, 40, 50 years whenever we found out about this. You know what I mean? So Don't look at, you know, trying to rush into something, or because there's some deadline that you want to do something, you know, something's happening tomorrow and you want to apply what you just learned today tomorrow. Don't do that, because you'll just get yourself in a worse situation, because they might have a response that you don't know how to deal with because you're not seasoned.
Okay.
Right. But the whole point, like one of the mothers in the chat was saying, don't become dependent or too dependent on others. It's really about, you know, you taking time with getting the mind right. Like once it sounds, you know, simple, but it's so advanced that once the mind is in the right place, the body's gonna do what it's supposed to do.
Once your mind is right and your body goes where it's supposed to go,
it's just automatic.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? And we stress that it's all about energy, and it's gonna be some work. So don't look for, you know, the overnight whatever. You know, don't look at this like, oh yeah, I feel that thing in my throat, just take some oregano and then, you know, I'm not gonna get sick tomorrow. This doesn't work like that. You know, or take a shot of rum or something like that and you're good for tomorrow. You know what I mean? This is it's very serious on the level of the people who you're dealing with. If your stuff is grand that you're dealing with, you know what I mean? It might not have to do anything with you doing jail time or nothing like that. It might just be you wanting to use your cup that you know is your cup. Why is somebody else using your cup or whatever? You know what I mean? But if you've been Negro and haven't said nothing about the cup in 30 years, and all of a sudden you're talking about the cup, and that people, you got these people are gonna they're gonna test you to see if you're really real. Because anybody could talk this BS. Let's see how real you are. You know, let's see how far you're willing to go to defend your cup that you claim is yours, that we've had for 30 years. You just found out about, you got a cup, now you're talking crazy. You know, now you're talking like you need to be in a mental institution because, you know, you're talking crazy. What do you mean sovereignty and you're a more? And what do you mean by that? That, you know, we got court cases here. Some crazy people talk like that. You know, how are you going to deal with those stuff? You know, and then, you know, on the other hand, you might send that paper and you never hear from these people ever again. And you get to keep all your stuff. And there's no issue at all with them. You know what I mean? It can go that way too. We've seen it go that way. We've seen people have mortgages about to foreclose and send a paper, and mortgage companies telling them they don't owe anything, not even your taxes.
Okay. Sorry, a mortgage company would do that?
Say that again?
Sorry, a mortgage company would do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's how you're approaching them. So if you're approaching them like they're a mortgage broker and then they got a house and you pay a down payment of a whatever, then, you know, they know that you don't know. That's what you could do too. Just go to the mortgage fraud section on the site relative to, you know, if you have some mortgage, whatever going on, just go read that part of the site and just see if that information resonates with you, you know, because it's common sense. It's not anything advanced. It's just time. It's just, are you willing to put in the time to read some stuff? We haven't read really in our life. You know what I mean? We think we studied, like we were saying earlier, but we haven't really studied like what studying is, what real studying is, like how scholars study. You know, looking up everything and all that. You know?
No question. I'm still like, right, trying to, I know, but this is who I am. I'm processing everything
No
in my
worries, no
mind.
worries. It's all good.
When I get information, I have to, I think analytically, you know, I process the information, and sometimes I can overthink things because of that.
Right.
So my question is, I wasn't trying, forgive me for repeating myself,
It's all good.
but he didn't charge me to do the papers, right, to fill out my form.
Yeah.
But my name, the name that I'm given, the name that I use here, Arlene Wallace, and all that information is on the paper, on the application,
right,
to get the tax exemption, right?
Yeah.
So if I take that back from him, I can just come to you guys and you can do it properly?
Yeah, I mean, it's way simpler than that. Like, for example, as far as the tax exempt, that's a number that it ain't nothing you go apply for or whatever, right? It's just a number that CMB filed in the Library of Congress. You use the number, you're good, because it's talking about a status. It's not a number for you not to have a tax. It's a number because you're in a particular status, so certain stuff doesn't apply to you. Like, it's not somebody gave you this number and now you have the number that's going to allow you to input it, and then that's the coupon code for you to get 10% off the book. That's not what the tax exemption is. Like, it's not like that.
It's not like that.
Yeah, what it is that you're exempt. But if they're dealing with somebody who's ignorant of knowledge, then they can tell you, I have this number to sell you, and then you're going to get taxes off. And they make it seem like there's some process for them to go get some number, and then you're going to get some paper with a little thing on it, and then you peel the thing and the number's under there and all this BS. And then now you have the number and you're going around, you're showing the number like you did something. You didn't do nothing. That number ain't nothing to get. Number's public record. It's filed in the Library of Congress. It's public record.
Library of Congress, wow.
Right, and again, the number is the filing in the Library of Congress. The number is not a number, like, the number leads to something else.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Right? Like they say, like they say, in order for you to whatever, you're gonna have to authenticate the birth certificate, because the birth certificate is the bond of the whatever and all this type of stuff. They start talking about whatever. The birth certificate came from a private foreign European colonial corporation. Why are you authenticating that? Why are you taking a fraudulent instrument and authenticating it, which means giving it legitimacy?
That doesn't make sense.
Why are you taking somebody's number, somebody's property, somebody's card, and posing it off as yours by authenticating it when you didn't create it?
Because even on the form, there's three pages, and those 3 pages refer to, on that last page, like page number 3, it requires notarization.
Right.
So I said, who's going to do that? Is what I said to him yesterday. I forgot to do that. Who's going to do it? And he said, he does it. I do that part.
Yeah.
The notarization.
Yeah. Because we've already gotten, well, let me say this. We went to a notary. This is in 2010, right? We had some paperwork, and we went to a notary with our paperwork. We put the paperwork down to get the paperwork notarized. The notary public took the paperwork, went to the back with it, came back and said, this paperwork already has a seal on it. You don't need to get it notarized. That's when we knew that the temple seal was real. Like any other seal out there that somebody's saying is a seal of something. And at that point, we stopped using notaries and stopped claiming to be notaries because it's a fraudulent position to be a notary.
Wow.
Because a notary is somebody who could be assigned to do that. And if you're assigned to do that, then that's not your jurisdiction. Somebody made you that. And if somebody made you that, you're not sovereign. So the question is, who made him a notary? And then when you check, you realize nobody made him a notary. He's just playing that he's in that position. But then you can't say that you're a Moor and then say that you're a notary.
Really? Yeah? Wow.
Okay, I went to look up notaries, and I noticed that anybody could be a notary. You don't have to be a lawyer. You just got to write the exam and become a notary public.
Oh, you got to do what?
To become a notary,
yeah,
you just have to be educated on the law, and you go and you write a test and you become a notary.
Oh, you go and you write a what? You write a what?
A test.
Oh, who's giving that test? Moors?
No.
All right. So that means that's their test.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a Moor and you went to do their test to be a notary, you're a clown.
Wow.
Because why you going to them to go take their test to be their title of whatever when you have your own title? You're a bay. You don't need them.
Wow.
Like we're saying, these
so the notary, I learned actually holds more authority than a judge in certain circumstances.
Say that again?
The notary holds more authority than a judge in certain situations.
Yeah, but that's only in the jurisdiction of their stuff. That's not outside that jurisdiction. Like a notary paper doesn't mean nothing to me. A notary don't have no authority to be for me to say that there's somebody. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have authority. More than likely, that notary is not even in his own land. And if he's in his own land, he's probably classified as Negro, black, colored. Because if that was a Moor, he wouldn't be a notary.
Wow.
There's no need to be a notary if you're a Moor. Right? Just like there's no need to be a lawyer if you're a Moor. If you're a Moor, you know the law. Yeah, be a lawyer. You don't have to go take no bar test or whatever.
Wow.
But this is how they get people. Because the concept of the whole idea of notary is really witness. Okay, all you need to do is get 3 more people on that paper, and it's notarized. Those 3 people better be Moors, though. Better not have some Negroes signing your papers, talking about it has some authority. Because that's what a notary is. A notary is a witness. I'm sealing this as a notary public because I witnessed, or I'm witnessing, that this individual signed this document called whatever they called it. Right? That's why you ever see on that paper the same paper that you have when you look at the part where he said where it says that he's gonna sign or whatever.
Yeah.
I bet you it says on there my commission expires. It says that on there?
I didn't check because he has it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if it says my commission expires,
Yeah.
then who sanctioned that?
Oh.
If it says it expires at a certain date?
Yeah, because it's not supposed to expire.
Oh.
What, you know, it's just if he's, it's just like with Moors have a license or whatever. Yeah, Moors can have a license, but you know, if you know that on the date of that thing expiring, you're still alive, then obviously that doesn't apply to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that expires. That's what products do. Expire. Expiration dates are on products. So if an individual is claiming that their position has an expiration date, that's a corporate position.
Oh, there's no expiration date on here.
Say that again?
This affidavit of beneficial ownership, declaration of claim title.
No, at the back, where you're supposed to sign it.
My commission expires 2023.
All right. Why would it expire? That's the what's supposed to be there is N/A, not applicable.
Wow.
If he's,
Maybe he didn't know that.
Oh, if he
Did he
didn't.
not?
Oh, so if he didn't know that, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Now he's incompetent and he's practicing law,
Yep.
which is fraud again.
Mm-hmm.
Now because if you're telling me that it doesn't say NA, he didn't scratch out my commission expires and put N/A there, then that means he's incompetent. And if he's incompetent, how is he witnessing some papers for somebody if he's incompetent?
So I will have to get this document redone then. The affidavit of ownership.
Affidavits of ownership of what? Because remember, if you're in your own land and whatever you owned is on your land, what do you need ownership for? Because remember, ownership is a registration.
It says here regarding live birth certificate, bond, birth certificate, Marisa Cadenhead estate in all capitals.
Right. That's the authenticating of the birth certificate, but in a paper form as an affidavit.
Wow.
So what they're gonna do, they're gonna take that paper after you sign it, right? They're gonna take that paper and they're gonna go down to the authentication office. The authentication office is gonna take that paper and all they're gonna do is put their cover letter on top of it and give it back to him. And then that's that. Now, like we said, with the notary, if you have your affidavit, this is your affidavit, and then these people are taking their thing and putting it on top of your affidavit and stapling it. What does that mean about your thing?
That you're really not, you're still under them.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't that simple? How come they didn't put their stuff at the back? If you're the one authenticating it or whatever, how come they didn't say, oh yeah, we'll put this at the back and then staple it? They put it on the front because you're still under them. And what and again, what happened? Why do our people love the devil? Because he gives them nothing. And you know, again, it's a learning curve. That's all. You know what I mean? That's all.
So this thing where he said that I would have to register
that once I take on my proper persona, that all my business and so forth would be registered through the temple. Is that the truth? Like for
That's how
business?
that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to run.
So we can, I can transfer over the titles that I have for my business to the temple.
No, well, I mean, it'll be better for you to put your free national name on them.
Right.
Because they're your title.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, you put it in the temple, but if that's your personal stuff, you would want that.
Mm-hmm.
You'd want to know where that is at all times.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so is that
you know how they have a beneficiary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, the temple would be the beneficiary in case something happens to your stuff. If you don't have children or whatever, if not, then they're the beneficiary, and you keep that stuff in the family, like how granddad taught you how to do it or whatever.
Oh, I see.
And you don't be giving that out to anybody for them to be holding on to your stuff. That's yours.
Right. So I could make this indenture trust through the temple, and so they would be holding the copy, not them, not the other faction.
Right, but like we're saying, you should be holding the copy. Like you should be the one with it. You should have it, and then whoever in your immediate has the copy.
Okay. Well, then this has to all be redone, I guess.
Right, but again, the redone is mental. The redone. Yeah, the redone as far as the papers or whatever, that ain't nothing. But if you have the same mind, but if you have the same mindset that you had when you got that first paper, now you're doing a second paper, you didn't do anything. No matter what the paper says, different than the first one. Because the mindset's still the same. So you're still gonna get the same outcome. You know what I mean? Whereas if you were to dissolve those things that you had and then detox from those things and then go write some stuff or whatever like that, you'll see the difference when you go back and read that stuff that they gave you, and then you read the stuff from your mind that you wrote, and you see how incompetent these people are.
Well, I guess I've already seen that firsthand.
Right? No, it's not. It's because again, it's a thing of, you know, like, yeah, you saw it firsthand, but we're looking at it. You're the 10th person or whatever. So something's definitely wrong out here. Because we've been had videos up with these people, but you know, those videos only have 200 views. You know, we already know what's up. Any type of BS that's up there, 50 million. So we already know that they're trying to stop our people from whatever. But then when people are approaching us on a regular basis, and the good thing is that the time frame of their engagement with these people is less and less when they, you know what I mean, when they approach us. You know, like the last few people, they only seen them one time, been to one class or whatever. They weren't with them for no 6-7 months and then finding out that this stuff is a fraud. So the good thing is that the timeline is getting shorter, that these people have people in their custody to play with them. You know what I mean? But it still shows that people aren't studying and all that, because they shouldn't automatically, they should know. They should see these people and know, hold on a second, something's wrong here. Just the demeanor, something's wrong here. The dress code, something's wrong here.
Yeah, sometimes you know, but you just don't trust your gut.
Ego.
You don't trust your
ego. Ego always takes over. Ego always takes over and tries to make you think you don't know what you're talking about when you feel intuitively that something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I don't know if it's ego, but you always know. You always know.
Yeah.
And where you go, when you know where you go, is the end result of whether or not you were listening to your inner person.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because the inner person never lied yet.
Yeah.
The inner person never sold you out yet. Inner person never let you down yet. Every time inner person said and you went with it, manifestations happen. Every time you denied it, some BS happened. Broke your leg, crashed your car, whatever. Because you didn't listen to the higher force talking.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's all part of, you know, like I'm saying, all part of the learning curve. You were supposed to be where you're at to be where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're here, you got the website that those guys should have told you go to. Right? You're gonna go there. You got your playlist with your 30 classes. Watch those. Guarantee. You know, and like you're saying, you know, some people, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Tomorrow you might wake up because you had a dream, Noble Drawley visited you and told you everything that you needed to know or whatever. Right?
Sorry, can you
I said,
you said no, Ali is gonna come to me in a dream and teach me everything I need to know.
right? Like some crazy things have happened to Moors when they proclaimed their nationality.
Really?
Yeah, crazy ones. Like crazy ones.
Wow.
Ones that, like you're saying, that you just don't know. It has to be the Most High. Can't be anything other than ancestors and the Most High.
Yeah.
You know, when you know, for example, even with the Moor here, you know, like when these people are talking adamant that you are going to be in here for a long time or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and these people are making a mockery of you and have you in solitary confinement or whatever like that, and then one day these people just come open the door and throw your bag and tell you get the F out of here and don't come back. You know this is real. When you just end up going to a store just to go buy some bread or something, and you get to the counter and the cashier comes from around the counter and bows to you, to your feet, head touching your feet, because you're wearing a turban and they think that you're some princess from wherever they think that you're from, then you'll know this is real. No. When just because you're wearing a fez, people are running up to you talking about, can I take your picture or whatever like that, and because I want to send this home to my uncle, and then they're going through their phone and they're showing you pictures in their country of people wearing fezzes or whatever, then you know this is real.
That happens?
That stuff happens.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like the picture thing, that's personally happened to me.
It happened to you?
Yeah, we were vending at Afrofest one year. One year we were vending at Afrofest. When it was at Queen's Park.
Mm-hmm.
And some Hindustanis, some people from so-called India.
Mm-hmm.
They were just walking through, and the guy stopped at our table. He's like, "Yo, where did you get that? Where did I get what? Where did you get that fez? Where did you get that fez? I need to get my fez like that." And he started tripping out. He wanted to try it on. Come on, let me try it. Can I buy it off you? All of that. You know what I mean? And that's when we were new. That's probably 2009 or something.
Wow.
And you have this man that doesn't know me from anybody. I've been going Afrofest for years vending. Never had anybody run up on me, talk about come take some pictures. Never. Never, ever, ever. And then now I'm more, and all this crazy stuff is happening. You know what I mean? I went to again, Hindustanis again. Went to a Hindustani store, convenience store. And go on the same thing, try to tell him, yo, no tax. You can't charge me tax or whatever. No, I have to charge tax because of this and that, da 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 da. You know, yes, there has to be tax. I'm like, no. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Where are you from? Where are you from? India or Hindustan? You look at me funny. I'm from Hindustan. How do you know that or whatever? I'm like, because I study. I'm more. Like, I'm not black. I'm not the guys that you usually deal with around here. I'm the real native. You know the native, you know Indians, you know, right? And then he lost it. Oh, brother, I'm so glad you know, brother. I'm so glad you know. Come anytime. Have anything in the store anytime. Come anytime. I go tell our people that they're Moors, they're fighting me or whatever. They don't want to hear nothing I'm saying. This man from across the goddamn Atlantic Ocean is telling me about he knows what's up. I know our people are playing. And I know our people been played. Because I also came from all of those schools of thought. Negro, black, colored, Nwapian, you name it. Been in all of it. All of it's BS. I know that. Because none of them told me about this. That's why I know that they're full of shit. Because none of them told me about this. None of them. Not one. Why didn't they tell me about this? Why are they hiding this? You hiding this from people? You mean you're hiding this from people? You know what I mean? How's somebody gonna teach you about trust when they're not trustworthy? If they're not trustworthy, how they telling people do trust or whatever?
It's true.
And then who's that on? And who's that? That's on the untrustworthy person or the person who trusted the untrustworthy person? But now you know, don't worry. You're straight now. You got the website, you got the classes, you got my number. You know, come to the temple, you'll meet some more Moors, build with them, get some different numbers, some more numbers, and you'll see stuff will start turning around. Has to. Just automatic.
Should I bring these paperwork that I have there for you?
Yeah,
guys
you could
to
bring
look
them.
at?
Yeah, you could bring them so we could take a look and see what it is. Who knows? It might be the same stuff that we got that they're trying to sell you or play games with you with. So it'll be good for us to see what they got.
Yeah.
You know?
And can you replace them as we speak?
Say that again?
Will we be able to replace them or renew them?
As far as those papers?
Yeah.
No, when we see those, we'll see what it is that they were trying to do or attempting to do or whatever. But until then, like how you're looking at it is moving forward.
Yeah.
You're a Moor. You have a nationality already. Like, this is not something you have to do to go. You have to do something to be that.
No.
Right? You're already that. All you have to do now is put them on notice.
I found my great-great-grandfather in India as a colonel of the army. I have the picture and everything.
Right? So
he was wearing this uniform with the X on the front and that Moorish fez.
Yep.
A turban, I mean, and a turban.
Yeah.
And those were the people who I think they brought from different parts of the world to fight for the British in the military.
Yep. That's exactly how they got them.
So I'm wondering if that's how my great-great-grandfather was born in Canada. That's how he ended up here.
Right.
And the rest of the story. So I will bring the books and all the documents that I have there. I want somebody
For
to
sure. For sure.
take up at this, because if that guy said that I have claimed the book that was in the public domain, I didn't get any paperwork for that. He said that he registered my business as an international business. I didn't see the paperwork. I don't have any certificates, no license, no nothing for my business.
Yeah.
All right.
And again too, like, you know, don't get caught up in they did something, and don't get caught up in that. They've been doing that. You just weren't hip to the game.
Okay.
You're not a first that they did this to. You know what I mean? Like this is what they do. But you know, because they're dealing with fraudulent activity, right? What they did or what they had you do wasn't legitimate. So don't worry about it. It ain't no big deal. You didn't do anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the mindset we have. We have the mindset that why authenticate the birth certificate? It's fraudulent. Yeah, but you can get it's fraudulent. Yeah, but if you could control the thing that it's fraudulent.
He said authentication was for the purpose of protecting yourself from identity theft.
No, yeah, for sure. It could be that. But that's not, but that card is not your identity. So what are you worried about if somebody steals that?
And part of it was because there were people, he played a video or something for us because there were people in the States or parts of the world who found that there were mortgages that had been established in their name for properties that they don't own, that people take out lots of credit. Like one person, I think a guy who was in jail found out that it was his lawyer who was using his name to have a ton of credit cards in his name and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they can lift signatures. But why didn't these jackasses then just teach you to reserve your rights on the contract? So that way when they lift the signature, they get the all rights reserved with it. So now they can't use your signature. How about that? Instead of going and filing some paper with some unknown, unfaced entity that you don't even know, paying them to go file some papers when you could just reserve your rights.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that a little bit too. About
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But that's free. He can't charge you for that. He can't charge you for that. So you're not gonna get no info on that. Because that's free info that would save you without having to go do some UCC or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All you do on the line, you just write all rights reserved on the line, and then you sign over that. Don't just sign anything with people you don't know without reserving your rights. Shit, matter of fact, don't write stuff with people who you don't know without reserving your rights.
Even if you put in a mortgage application, you put that on there, right?
I don't care what you're signing. If you're signing nationality papers and Moore's giving it to you, reserve your rights.
Because they're claiming, if you research online, they claim that this all rights reserve was established long ago and that it no longer holds any weight in court, that people don't use that anymore. That's misleading, isn't it?
Oh, so if they don't use that anymore, then why do those guys who call themselves movie whoever's put that stuff about if you copy this, we're going to sue your ass? That's them reserving their rights.
If you research it online, you'll see that they said this law was established.
Listen what I'm saying. If that's the case, then why are the people who put out movies telling people we reserve our rights to sue your ass if you copy our movie?
It's true.
Okay. How come they're not telling them that? How come they're not telling them guys that? Oh, so those guys will reserve their rights, but you could get raped by every government, whatever, but they can reserve their rights and send all their finance to some Swiss account or whatever that IRS and CRA can't touch. But you got to deal with these clowns telling you about property tax on your own property that you already paid for because you signed the mortgage that paid for it. And then you're paying them because we're living in a debt system. So there's no money exchange. Everything's supposed to be credited or debted.
Yeah, that's right. Credit or debit. Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. But the people been dumb. The people start thinking that paper is money, and then they start thinking about credit, and then they start in their own mind, they created this big illusion that gave people jobs or whatever like that. Now it's a reality that they're stuck with.
So can I ask you a question? I'm gonna bring my mother's form because I'm gonna do it for my mom too, but because she didn't fill out the last 3 papers, he told me to tell her to fill it out. But that's not even the point. The point is this. My mom's been retired since 2006, retired. And when she does her income tax every year up to this year, because I said, this has got to stop. Some way, somehow, this is not right. It's got to stop. Why is the government coming after you for taxes owed and you're not even working? That doesn't make sense to me, I would say to her.
Yeah, because her status is their ward. So if you're their ward, then anything you own is mine too. Because you're my ward. You're my Negro, black, colored. So anything you own is mine as well.
So she has to obviously change her status.
But then if she changes her status, she might not be getting no checks from them people anymore because they don't mess with really assisting the Aboriginal indigenous people. The whole plan is to murder them and take their land. So don't think that you're going to be a Moor and you're going to get some benefits from these colonizers who know what they do to Aboriginal indigenous people, which is what Moors are. But don't get it messed up into thinking that if we all said that we're Moors, that they could do something about it.
So you're saying her mom wouldn't get her pension to declare her identity?
Yeah, because she agreed. She already contracted. It's just like the people who they go to McDonald's and they go eat, right? They go to McDonald's and they go eat. And then the Jew came out and told them that, oh, you know, we put baby fetuses and stuff in the burgers. And then people pretended like they didn't hear that and they're still eating burgers.
Wow. McDonald's does that, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's a secret that that's not meat or whatever. As far as meat from a cow or whatever they're going to say they make hamburgers from, horse or whatever.
Tell me it's only McDonald's that does that.
Probably not. Because think about it. How could they feed so many people?
Ongoing, yeah.
Ongoing.
All day, every day.
All day, every day, burgers. There's not that many cows, no way. I don't know if cows are real right now. I don't even know if that's really a cow over there.
You know, it's funny. Just yesterday, I had a Whopper from Burger King out of the blue because I was starving, and I passed, you know, like the signs that they use, they do it for a reason, you know? And I couldn't tell you the last time I had Burger King. It's been years I had Burger King. All of a sudden, I'm driving home, I see Burger King, and I see the Whopper advertised, right?
Yeah, because
on their bill.
Yeah, but because what could they do now that they couldn't do before with graphic arts right now, they can make paper look real.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I could go for a Whopper. I haven't had one. I thought about the burger. I thought about the Whopper sauce and all of that stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm going to grab a Whopper. Grab one from my mom and got home. Do you know, after I ate that Whopper, how sick I felt like the entire evening? Remember I was telling you, Marissa, I had a bellyache?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you shock your system if you hadn't eaten that for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, but you could also look at it as that's what you get. That's the ancestors slapping you in the back of the head for that one.
For sure. For sure.
Because, you know, what has Whopper ever done for you?
Exactly.
Beef burger and fries. I'm kidding.
Yep.
Actually, I had 2 fries. That was it.
Right.
I ate the rest to my son.
Well.
So yeah. So it's all about none of that. Anything called fast food, none of that.
Yeah. None of that.
None of that.
No.
Zero.
None.
Zero.
None.
Going somewhere and they're making it over the counter for you or in the back at the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You only do that when you know. You know what I mean? Like it's like again with the Moors again. Just because we know that we're Moors. There's Moors who have gone to certain people's restaurants that have a nationality. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time these Moors go there, they don't eat where the common people eat.
Oh.
They eat in the back where the chef eats and the owner eats and the owner's wife eats, and they get the cookies with the tea before they eat and all of that.
Where is it?
All over the place.
Even here?
Because people are waiting for us to wake up.
Yes, I agree. I've had that said to me in my spirit already.
People are waiting for us to wake up. Waiting for us to wake up.
I don't know where it comes from, but that has come from my spirit. My people are waiting. I've told people that. I've told my mentors that I need to get out there because my people are waiting.
Yeah, and it's not on some, ego tripping or whatever. That's Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Man reaching deific life, where him and Allah are one, and you don't need a middleman. Because you're manifesting the Most High's will every time you manifest.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing something of low vibratory frequencies. Everything is of a high aperture. Nothing is layman like that. Just like we're saying, like right now, there's people right now, after this right there, they're giving you a bill. You owe them 500. Because this was a consultation. This wasn't just you building with your brothers and sisters. And we just happened to record it and then we just put it live so everybody could hear because, hey, we're brothers and sisters. There's people who would have said, $20, pay $20 to see this talk with me and this sisters that they went through some stuff and then make it like some wrestling or whatever. And that's going on right now in continuing the confusion of our people, having them know everything but their nationality and their birthrights. And they know everything. And they know everything. They have every book. But you ask them their nationality, they're telling you about some black hole in some universal vortex that they came from.
That individual, I told him about my mom's situation, right? At the end of every year. But he didn't tell me what you just told me, that if she decides to do, they'll take her pension. He didn't tell me that.
No, because that spoils the thing. Because that doesn't mean don't do it. Right? That means that this is deeper than you thought.
Yeah.
You thought that this was just some, just 2 drops of oregano under the tongue. And tomorrow, that thing in my throat that's going to get sick, I'm going to be better tomorrow. This ain't that.
Mm-hmm.
This is you're putting in work if you want something out of this. You want something out of this? Put in some work. You're not getting no freebie. This is not no free ride.
Yeah.
This is not that Negro, black, colored stuff where slave master is gonna come give you some whatever because you're a little, and the racism and the discrimination. So you need to get some help from the slave master so they can truth and reconciliation of the Indians and the residential schools. So here's a 50,000 so you can do something. The hell out of here.
Yeah, I showed up at my son's school. They were having one of those truth and reconciliation meetings.
Yeah.
And put out a paper, a letter that says anyone is welcome, but I don't think they anticipated any of us showing up there.
Oh, for sure. They never do.
Huh?
They never do.
It was like a little secret meeting, in the evening time, and I showed up there, and I was the only one. And I was confused because I didn't know myself. And they were showing videos of the residential schools and talking about the truth and reconciliation. And here I go blurting out to them. But these aren't the only people who truth and reconciliation need to be made to.
Right.
Yeah. They were looking at me like, I don't think she knows what's going on.
Yeah, because you're looking at it like angry black women.
No, well, I didn't say it angrily. But
No, not how you said it, but
yeah,
the fact that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because this has nothing to do with anybody else but these people who were in a residential school. Nobody else.
Right.
Nobody else's pain, nobody else's hurt and anguish doesn't matter. All we're talking about is our Indian wards right now. We're not talking about our other wards.
Right. So that kind of threw a loop into the everything because they were uncomfortable. And I think they wanted me to leave. They didn't really want me there. They didn't want me knowing what they were talking about that evening.
Yeah, but like you said, that's their little secret meeting.
So where is our Truth and Reconciliation Committee?
It's called the Moorish Culture Club.
Awesome.
And that's a branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America that makes sure that we truth and reconcile ourselves. We don't need somebody else to recognize our pain and suffering.
Yeah, so they can make fun of us, like I was saying earlier.
We don't need their acknowledgments to be somebody.
Yeah, but they make fun of you while they're doing it, right? They're being condescending. They are, because we had an American delegate come to one of our meetings working with the mothers, the Somali mothers that lost a lot of their sons to gun violence. She's a psychologist. Mm-hmm. And she told them straight. She said, I want you guys to stop crying because they're making a mockery out of you. Oh, yeah, she told them straight like that. And they were like, oh, but now they don't do that anymore. They're working on their own documentary. Mm-hmm. They don't do that in public anymore. They may do it in private, but they don't cry in public anymore since that woman told her. Even when others go on the TV and they're crying about their sons who got shot, that's just entertainment. And that's exactly what she said. She said, you are entertainment for them. They are making a mockery. They know exactly when you're coming and how to handle you because that's their expectation. Stop crying. You know what? I studied art in school, and when you study art,
They will give you a piece of artwork that you got to live with for like a week before you figure out what's going on in the piece of artwork. They never told us. They never taught me that a lot of the artwork originally belonged to us. But when you were reading the television, the news, how they structure the delivery of their information and everything, it's all like a painting in a museum, you know?
Mm.
The way they send the black guy out to cover the story in the black community, or they send the Indian girl out to cover the Indian story community. Exactly what they do. Right? Or the way when Ford won, how they showed half the face of a black man in the background, only the eyes of another one, and then they show the full face of the Caucasian. Yeah. They're constantly delivering messages to us in the Canadian Tire commercial, where they had a little black girl there, and they had all the little kids say, "Oh, kill the enemy of what do they say? The enemy of something or other is coming." And then they blurred the little black girl's face, and then they did a quick zoom in on her and then out again. They're constantly. But not only that, I've had these conversations too. Wow, with my mom, and I said, "Look at that. There's another Canadian Tire commercial. The only black girl, and they have a pacifier in her mouth. That's the one. That's the one. And she's in the back. She's in the middle of the group. She's in the middle of the group. It's in a beat, and she's at the back, and then they blur her image a little bit.
Right? No. Why? Because she's black. So she gets the worst treatment. She gets the no attention. She gets all the BS, and you're gonna accept it. Why? Because
you know what other
the justification comes from the people who accept it, not that they're doing that. It has nothing to do with what they're doing. It has to do what are the people accepting.
Exactly.
And the people are accepting the fiction.
There's another commercial I cannot stand. It irritates my spirit. It's a milk commercial. First, a little boy. These guys here thought it was a little girl. I said, "You guys look and listen carefully. It's a little boy." And then the white girl says, "Oh, he wants some milk or whatever." So she gives him some milk, and he goes, "Oh," she says to him, "Oh, I think he likes it like he's a puppet." Wow. It's that commercial irritates my soul to the core. That's another one.
Yeah.
And they make him look like a little girl wearing a tie.
And remember again, why? Because it's a little black boy. So he's gonna get to wear the dress. He's gonna let to be a little girl, even though he's a boy. They're gonna use him as the #1 campaigner for the cross-dressing, whatever. They're gonna do everything possible to make this quote-unquote black boy be feminine. Because there's a European psychology that hates our masculinity.
Yes. Can I tell you something?
Right?
A Chinese lady wrote home to me. No, my son did the spelling bee, and he got 6 out of 7. But the Chinese lady who was marking it decided to put an X through one of the check marks because she found that, he should have made the P in Parmesan capital to get it right. So I politely wrote to them and I said, "My child came home and he noticed on the test that one of the questions was marked right and then wrong. Which is it, right or wrong? And who should he take this up with?" And she comes back swinging. Like I said, they are swinging at us and they're cussing us in a language that they think we're not going to pick up, right? So she comes back swinging from my email as to who should he go and show the paper to. She comes back with, "I don't think he got 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. If he got 9 out of 10 out of 10, please remind me so tomorrow I can write up a super speller certificate for him." Wow. And then she said, "Oh, I think I remember. It's the word Parmesan. If it is the word Parmesan, yes, it has to be capitalized. That's the rule from Spelling Bee Canada. And anyway, why don't you just give him the point?" And I wrote her back and I told her, "From your weak stance, I can see through your vain and pathetic attempt to try to bring him down, and you need to stop it." And she writes back, "Oh, it saddens me to see your worldview." I haven't answered her because they think we don't pick up. If it is that the word Parmesan in Parmesan cheese had to be capitalized, and the boy is studying French immersion, so he's not learning the mechanics of English, shouldn't she have sent a note home with the spelling test to say, "Be sure you remember to capitalize on
No,
nouns"?
but that's why she referred to the rules
Spelling
of
Bee Canada,
the whatever
right?
Canada,
Yeah.
because there's a governing body that
That she can refer to.
makes
That
this
she
thing
can
be.
resort to.
Say that again.
That she can resort to.
Right, because she's under that jurisdiction. She can't go outside of that.
So I
She
also
personally
told her that
can't go outside of that.
I said to her, "I know English is not your first," because she's swinging at us. I said, "Well, since English is not your first language, I understand. Okay? You don't speak English, but you're schooling the boy who speaks English on English, even though he's studying in French immersion. You are obviously trying to bring him down."
Yeah, but that's outside the jurisdiction.
Right?
Because what's being talked about now is outside the spelling bee.
That's true, because if he's learning in Francophone, that's a different jurisdiction than learning in English.
Exactly. So if it's a different jurisdiction, that means, and so if it's a different jurisdiction, that means the problem is with the governing body, not this lady who you're having emails back and forth with when you should be talking with the president.
Well, the thing is that the reason I took it up with her, because the boy's been writing the spelling bee since grade 1, and he's now in grade 4. And they've always just wrote the correct spelling of the word, irregardless of capital or no capital. This rule has never been adhered to until now.
But again, right? Whenever it's just like with basketball wasn't making money, so they said nobody can touch anybody anymore. Everybody could just go score 500 points. Because we have to make this exciting again.
They did what? Sorry?
The whole point of them referring to the rules and bringing up something, forget about the fact of trying to bring him down.
Mm-hmm.
The whole system's corrupt.
Yes, it is.
It's a rigged game from the start. Because they have their own rules. That's 800 pages that you're probably not going to read.
What were you saying about the basketball game? What were you referring
to?
No,
the reference to it was that because the game started to not make money how they wanted it to be, right? They changed the rules. They made it so instead of 10 seconds to bring the ball over, you have 8. You can't hand check no more. You can get away with taking 5 steps or whatever like that sometimes. You know what I mean? You could shoot from anywhere. Matter of fact, have everybody shoot from everywhere and have nobody play in the key at all. Unless you're getting a rebound or whatever. That's how it's played now. Because they changed the rules. So once you change the rules, the game's going to be different.
Wow. Is that why the Raptors are winning?
So if they're saying that we're doing a spelling bee, and they realize that somebody from grade 1 to grade 4 is winning all the time, They can change the rules because you probably don't know the rules.
You know what? You could see her mindset along the way. She's marking the papers. You go, okay, number 1 is right. Number 2 is right. Number 3 is right. Number 4 is right. How come this kid is getting all of this right? Number 5 is right. Number 6 is right. Wow, he's getting all of these right. Or better, maybe I give him number 6 wrong, actually, because let's see what's wrong with it. Okay, he didn't capitalize. That's it. I'm going to take back this right and give him a wrong. That's how they think.
Yes, but regardless of how they think about how many people before him got that. How long she been doing that? He's not the first.
No, he's not.
This ain't nothing new.
No, he's
We're
not.
always getting caught up. We're always getting caught up in something because it appears to be new to us because we just found out. No, we're late. We're the dumbasses that haven't been paying attention for the past 100 years. What's going on?
It's true. It's their mindset against us, and they think that we are not going to pick up when they do things.
The fact that you picked up lets you know that they're not pulling nothing on you because you picked it up. So it's not about them.
Yeah.
Something else is making stuff go messed up because it ain't about them because we already know what they're gonna do.
Right.
We already know what they're gonna do. So what is the real problem? The real problem is our energy is going to them when our energy should be going to us. As soon as our energy is going to them, they win. Because it's all about attention. Where is your attention?
So I stopped answering her because after she wrote back and said it saddens me to see that your worldview, I was thinking it's not my worldview. It is your worldview that started this conversation. But I decided, you know what? This is gonna get too deep for her, and this could go on a long time. So I better just end it right there. I said what I had to say, and I just leave it at that.
Because what are you gonna do? Because other than that, it's her getting your energy. Because trust me, she doesn't care. Trust me.
Stop it. I believe that.
Matter of fact, that might even be her replying to you.
Her what?
That might not even be her replying to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. You don't even know who that is.
It took her about 2 or 3 days to respond, actually.
No,
to my email.
But you don't know if that's her.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a man that replied.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who that is. Her assistant could have replied.
Well, the person is another parent, actually. She's the parent who started the spelling bee at the school. Is a Chinese lady. She started the spelling. That's what he's saying, though, Marissa. It's not. Part of it's not a part of her. It's not part of the curriculum per se. It's just something they've added. The parents said, "Let's do spelling bee, inter-school spelling bee to help the kids with their vocabulary." And I just decided that let my son go and write the spelling test.
No, ain't nothing wrong. Nothing's not wrong with the spelling bee. Just spelling like we the spelling test. Just like we say. Like just like nothing's wrong with the spelling test.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with the temple. Nothing's wrong with being Moors. What's wrong is the clowns that's been running it.
True.
That you don't want to stop and realize that you've been dealing with people who are clowns.
Yes, because they want to govern you. How can they govern you when they do not have knowledge of you?
Because you went to them. So they got jurisdiction. You should have had your own spelling test. Is what should have went on. Opposed to them and their spelling whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That, you know what I mean? Like we should have, and you would have had your own if we would have been doing our own from when we were supposed to be doing our own. Mm-hmm. Instead of always having to rely on somebody.
It's true. God bless the child that's got his own.
Right?
Wow.
You know.
Well,
but yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch. You know, and
yes.
and just know, always stress this to yourself, that all is mental. This is not about some cards and some papers. I know that that's how the stuff is pushed, because it's completely contrary to what it is we taught certain people. So we already know that they're in here for the opportunist game. I'm not guessing about that. Like, I know they're in this from the opportunist perspective of take advantage of dumb people or desperate people or people who just don't study and think they could buy their way out of something. That's who they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. Our thing is get people to not be that. Get them to be thinkers so they don't get played. Because played used to be 200 notes or whatever. People are getting 5,000 right now for some papers or whatever. That is crazy to me.
Wow.
Like, I don't know what that is. That's in a whole different league or whatever.
Maybe just pushing the envelope now to see, wow, this is working. Let's see how much we could actually get out of these people.
I don't know what it is, but listen, people gave up to 70 grand for some papers. It is crazy. It is absolutely insane right now. Right? So this is all about going back, finding yourself, grounding and all that, grounding again and starting anew. Because if you've been messing with certain people, you're tainted. If you've been digesting their information into your thought stream.
You know what's funny? We had said to ourselves, that's it. We have to get out of this class. We got to stop listening to him. We can't be going back to this phone class or doing anything anymore. We stop listening to him.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get him out my system, I got to relinquish all of this altogether. That is what the message was.
You know what it is? It's a thought transfusion. It's a thought transfusion.
When you listen, you were saying earlier, like when you listen to the people on the line who get really excited about the things he says, it seems like this guy needed like minions, you know, people who don't really think for themselves, who don't think at all.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Those are the people on the line who are like getting really excited and saying, "What? Yeah! Oh my gosh! I can't believe! Yeah!"
But also, think about this. Think about this. As you said that right there. Think about this. His brother we know, Amor. He went to a Polite lecture one time. You know Polite, Brother Polite?
Brother Polite, yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Right? He went to a Brother Polite lecture one time. So at the end of the lecture, Polite starts doing a Q&A. And in the Q&A, people in the crowd are putting up their hand or whatever. The more is looking around, and the people who are putting up their hand are the people who came with Polite. And they're answering questions. They're asking questions like they're random people that were just in the crowd.
Wow.
They're asking questions like, hold on a second, you came with Polite. How you don't know that answer to that? Right? So don't think because you're on a call and you hear some people and they're jumping up and down and all that stuff that they're probably not in on the game.
Yeah, well, I know the government does that too when they stage. Yeah, when they stage. Sorry, guys, I have to go. I'll call you back, Marissa.
Yeah,
Okay, no
all right,
problem.
no problem, sis.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too. Take care. Yeah, when they have to when staging like protests and stuff in different countries, I've learned that they do send their people out there to join in the crowd.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean?
It's a kind of similar technique, I guess.
Exactly.
There's a lot of contradiction. Like at the first couple of weeks, he told a lady that the lady was like, "Look, I want to tell you guys of all these government grants and stuff," and he was like, "No, we don't do that here. That's the whole point of this class, is that we're not going to go to them to ask them for anything." About a month or so later in the class, when another person brought it up and said, "Yeah, you should go to here, this place, because they got lots of grants for your business and whatever," he was okay with it. All these kinds of inconsistencies were kind of really just.
Well, I mean, you know, like a grant. If you're getting a grants you don't have to pay back.
No.
So if you're getting a grant, that and they're willing to give you the grant, and you can do some good with the grant, then hell yeah, take the grant. You better reserve your rights or whatever on that. You know, for if they try anything crazy, at least you got your rights reserved. If they're gonna give it, why not take that grant? But loans or whatever, that's totally different. You know what I mean? If they're getting loans or whatever, but if they're giving finance away to do stuff, you might as well reserve your rights and take that.
Well, if they're broke, how can they be giving out grants?
Well, again, that's what that so-called system is what's going on right now.
They're supposedly broke, and right now, from what I hear in the industry, lenders are clamoring, doing everything in their power to qualify people for loans.
Right, but that's loan. Loan and grant is two different things.
Yeah, there are lots of grants being given away too.
Yeah, because that's the same reparations that were supposed to go to these Negro black colored people who want to be Negro black colored instead of being their ancient foremothers and forefathers. So they're doing with it what they got to do with it. But these Moors are playing because they want to be Negroes. They want to be Africans that came over here from somewhere and think they're going to get some reparations to repair a nation that doesn't exist. That's incompetence.
How much do you know about this Akan tribe and their status?
And their what?
And their status.
No, well, I mean, if they were on the Western Africa, as far as the continent, when we put that together as a puzzle, it fits right on North America.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So all these people are relatives. So no matter whether you talk about the Dogon or the Akan or the whoever, you're talking about dark-skinned people, right?
Yes.
All right. Guess what? A blackamoor is any dark-skinned person, especially an African Negro.
Okay,
so everybody's Moors then, right?
Yeah, within the Moors, you had different tribes. That I understand everybody's a Moor, every black dark-skinned person is a Moor, but they were labeled under different tribes.
Right.
So do you have to find their tribe? I think they said that it doesn't matter where you're coming from as long as you're a Moor, that they accept you. Is that true for the Moors, that they just accept our people? And
who's they?
The Moors.
No, when you say they accept the Moors, who you Who do you mean accepts the Moors?
The Akan.
No, don't forget, in Nigeria, they wear fezzes. In Ghana, they wear fezzes.
They do. What about Ghana?
Yeah, they wear fezzes in Ghana.
They do. Wow.
Yeah, they
So
already
all
know.
of, so
Because all of that is part of the Moroccan Empire.
right, and the Moors is from Morocco.
And the Moors from Morocco.
Okay.
And Mauritania. And Egypt.
Okay.
And all those North African countries. But it's not just
Okay.
limited to there. Because Moors were the seafarers. They sailed the 7 seas. So the Moors went everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So that means I think both sides of my families were more maternal and paternal.
Yeah, of course.
My grandfather was a land Moor, riding horses and stuff.
Right.
And my other grandfather, well, my grandfather's brother, who I refer to as grandfather, he was a seafaring Moor who operating on the maritime law, knowing the navigation system and all that.
Right.
So one was a horseback rider, one was a navigator, land and sea.
More and more.
Wow.
You can't escape
so
it.
Like I said, I traced them all the way, traced my grandfather as a colonel in the army in India.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know now, with all of this studying and information that I've gathered onto myself, I don't know how to present myself accordingly. That is the teachings that I am needing from you guys. How do I?
But if you never used the hammer and the nail before, and I give you a hammer and nail, what are you gonna do with it?
I would totally figure out how to use it.
All right. So what are you asking me then? Stuff.
Okay then. Answer that. Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, creep before you walk. Don't worry, you're gonna get there. Trust me, you're gonna get there. Trust me, you're gonna get there.
So I am okay, one step at a time.
Yeah.
I have a laundry list of things. I'm telling you, my business to be registered.
No, I get you. Don't even if you haven't done anything with it yet, then there's no rush to do something with it now, because it's not going anywhere, because that's intellectual property, so it's in you.
Okay.
It's not something on a paper. Get out that thing that your business is something on a paper filed with them. That's not all that stuff has to be dead.
I'm already operating.
All right, exactly. And then you're operating because you're Aboriginal and Indigenous to the land, and that's just your culture that you're exercising, because in your culture you drink clean water. So, you know what I mean?
That's right.
In your culture, you honor earth, so you stay fit.
We do.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
In your culture, and that's just what it is. It's not.
It is.
Something, you know what I mean? People get mad or whatever. Why are you doing that and all that stuff? Get the hell out of here. You guys don't get mad at Buddhists for being Buddhists and Christians for being Christians or whatever. Why are you mad at me for exercising because you thought I was nigger or whatever. And realizing that I'm not nigger. I actually have a culture. I know who I am. I'm not one of these clowns out here that you people usually deal with. So you're uncomfortable. I get it. But don't put me in anybody's categories or whatever. Recognize that I'm not these Negroes that you deal with, and deal with me accordingly.
They are uncomfortable over there at my son's school.
Oh, it's okay. Let them be uncomfortable. That's good. That lets you know that you're doing something right if they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, when they see me coming, they're shuffling, because me and this French Arab lady, we have it to do. That's on my list of things to do, because she had been harassing my son. She had been so trying to tear him down mentally.
No, but this is where You let the work speak.
Okay.
Because you could teach him everything that they're teaching him at home and have him going in there and smashing them.
Well, he's doing it. Just
All right.
yesterday,
So
he went wheeling in that wheelie shoes. What's it called? You know, that wheelie shoes.
Yeah.
Wheeling along the halls, and he said she came to him and she was like, "You're not allowed to wheelie in the hallway." And he said he gave her the look, and all of a sudden she just backed off. He said, "Yeah, I guess she knows now, because I'm telling you, the amount of meetings that I've had over that school,
yeah,
she ran out of the office in the last one."
Yeah, it's only because you're always dealing with the cashier. Send some stuff to the superintendent and those people. Forget the cashier.
I really need to, because you know what happened the last time was that she tried a Rosa Parks. She told me that we had to wait at the back of the line till everybody else boarded the bus. And I said, hell no, we're not. Let's go. Go up in the bus. I step right past her and we'll go and assume our seat, our position.
Hope you didn't go in the back.
Heck no, my position ain't in the back because I ain't black. So, and I fit to the chin, a real frontish, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I know.
The rest of the trip, she was battling me the entire walk.
Yeah.
Where she didn't want me to sit down on God's green earth. She see me sitting at the front of the line the whole way, and I told the two children, she gave me the two little black boys to supervise, my son and another one, and I told them, do not let me catch you at the back of the line for the rest of this trip. Stay up at the front of the line. And when she see me at the front of the line, she came over and gave me a and I gave her a It was only her and I who knew what was going on the whole trip. Then another pair came and grabbed up one of my child, dragging him out of the line. Move. My child is supposed to be here. I said, don't you put your hands on these kids. Then I said, you were just putting your hands on them. Don't. The teacher comes, hugging the parent. Are you okay? Are you okay? I said, oh, because you need consoling after what you went through. Are you okay? She pulls the parent away and she's like consoling her, talking about me, like, don't look at her, don't worry about her. This kind of thing.
Yeah, but remember, how much of that would have went on if you had just ignored her ass? How much of that would have went on?
Well, I was enjoying myself.
Exactly. That's the whole point, right? So you have to take you have to take the bad with the good. You can't just take the good, enjoying yourself, and not take the little ones that come with it because you're gonna enjoy yourself.
Well, you know what I mean? You know what? I kind of am having fun with the fact that I am awake now and I can see.
Right, for sure, no doubt.
You're not blind anymore. Wow. Right. And not only that, you ever been so dumbed down that you didn't know what to do when they were abusing you?
Right. Yeah, but think about this. You don't even know yet. Imagine when you know. Imagine instead of writing whatever now, imagine you wait 6 months and write something. When your mindset's 6 months seasoned in this, not tomorrow, right?
I am hitting the fast forward button because I wish I could fast forward to that time. As I was telling my husband today, I said I can't wait until I'm fully learned.
No, that's the joke. There's no fully, because learning doesn't stop. So there's no end. There's no end part.
Drive the vehicle, you know.
Yeah, but
I'm just sitting in the seat right now trying to figure out which one of these buttons go which direction.
Right.
So once I have that figured out and I know how to fly the plane, you know, I need that because like I said, I've been operating backward. I took my dentist, I took her to her tribunal. People them ask me, how much money should she pay you? I told them, just tell her to ask her to pay me back what I've already paid to her. That's it. Took my landlord, They ask again, how much to pay? Tell them to reimburse me for all of my furniture. Done. This architectural firm come telling me about, oh, we have a rule against Jamaicans around here, no guns allowed. I said, tell them to pay me, and that will be it. That's it. And I don't know any of this stuff. So when I came into the introduction of this who I am and proper persona, I'm really hungry now before I proceed with other people on this list, like the coroner who wrote in the report after that Jewish woman licked me in a car and killed my baby.
Yeah.
And the coroner put on the paper that he was taking sides with them. He obviously spoke with them because they're alumni from University of Toronto. Mm-hmm. And he was giving me the most attitude, called me up on the phone and told me, well, your baby died of a chromosomal abnormality, so that's it. And then he wrote in the report, mother has sickle cell, hence baby's suffocation from lack of oxygen. Bullshit. I don't have sickle cell. Where did he get that from? And who was he working with? To whom was he speaking when he got that?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then the doctor who told me, when I told her I was in the accident at 8 months with my baby, she said, oh, I'll just get the files from the hospital. 2 months down the road, talk about, oh, I'm going to call in the high-risk doctor because I think I see a bit of fluid around the baby's heart. Doctor, what kind of fluid around the baby's heart? Oh, it's just a bit of pericardial effusion. Send me to the high-risk. The lady's like, oh, I see fluid around the baby's brain. What are you saying? Okay, go to sick kids and let them have a look at you. You guys are sending me around in circles. What's really going on here? Do you need us to call a psychiatrist for you? You seem really upset. No, I don't want no damn psychiatrist. I already got one. Oh, so then I go back in there with an army of people and say, listen, you two are trying to trick me up. Now tell my whole army of people right here what you were telling me a while ago and I couldn't hear you because I was too emotionally discombobulated. Well, what we were seeing is this and this and that. And somebody says, could all these issues with the baby be as a result of that accident? Here go the doctor. What accident? You know, the accident from 2 months ago. Oh, I will have to get those files from the hospital. The files she said she was going to get 2 months back, which I wasn't aware that she hadn't got.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Is she supposed to be able to do that and just leave it like that? Then
again,
she come put me up in private.
It goes back to the thing of the wardship. That
Then
once you're their ward, they could do whatever they want. Only when you reach to your senses, like you're doing right now, will there be some type of remedy.
Consequence.
But you're not gonna do something of this magnitude premature, because you're gonna end up playing yourself.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be diving into the deep end, thinking that you could swim in a whirlpool.
Okay.
When the point was not going in.
Is it so? If you're not on their jurisdiction, then the supposed what did you call it?
When you're not in when you're not in their jurisdiction, your only option after that is sue everybody.
Wow.
It would be best to do it in
proper person.
And in a class action, so that it's not just you, but you have witnesses and you have people who are credible, right? But you know, it's that or play the ward game.
Okay.
Right.
I have one more question for you.
Yeah, we could talk. We'll set up and talk and build again. You know.
Okay. One last question.
Yeah.
Sorry, before you.
No worries.
About WSIB, right?
Yeah. Again, that's their stuff. So the name that's with them, the name that they have, the name that you registered with them for their whatever benefit that they were given, I'm pretty sure is a wardship name.
Okay.
So you're gonna what you would start doing is reserving your rights when you're dealing with these people, because you know that they're trying to play you.
Yeah, because right now Dree has a boss who's definitely trying to play him. After he got injured on the job, nearly lost an eyeball, and 4 surgeries later, he simply sent a letter to this man telling him, look, he needs to sign this insurance form for his disability claim, private insurance. And the guy's like, I have to take it to my lawyer first. That was over 3-4 months ago. He's basically avoiding him.
Yeah, but people have bosses. So like I said, why are you talking to the cashier if there's hair in your food?
He has no boss, actually. He is the boss. It's a small roofing company. So he's the boss.
If it's a small roofing company, then the boss is the small claims court, or whatever jurisdiction that you have to bring him into based on the boss position that he's claiming that he has. Because everybody has a boss.
Right.
Once they're corporate, they have a boss. Guaranteed they have a boss.
Okay. So the record of employment, he refused to give him one for 2015. He's not answering his emails or phone calls. He's not communicating at all.
Yeah, because he's dealing with a ward that he doesn't have to communicate.
So what's he supposed to do?
Like I said,
to get himself get a proper person?
Like we say, once you have the knowledge, the body is going to do what it's supposed to do. Nobody can't tell the body what to do, because when nobody's not there, now you're stuck, because there's nobody to tell you what to do.
That's true.
But if you have it in your mind, now nobody can't tell you anything, because you're going to just do what you're supposed to do.
You have to study.
You'll just do it automatic, just because there's nothing else to do but what the mind is telling the body to do.
Right. Okay.
Right.
But suppose the man tells he must go and shoot him and kill him.
No, well, I mean, if the mind's going there, then the body better be ready for the consequences. If the mind goes there.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. So that these 30 classes you can study at your own pace?
Yeah. Just take your time, or whatever you want to do. They're online, so you can do whatever you want. There's no lock on it. Nobody's not testing you. This is not, we're here to make you whatever. You're here to make you whatever. Okay. Whatever it is that you see that you could be greater than you were, then we'll help you on that journey to do that. But you're doing it. We're not, climbing in your trenches for you.
I got you.
You're climbing your own trenches, but we'll be there to rep and support and whatever we got to do. But,
I got you. Okay.
Well, we'll be in touch.
You are very generous with your time.
Oh, no worries. That's how we do.
Appreciate you very much. We're going to pass by over the weekend.
Yeah. All right.
Do you have a place there for children? Are they welcome or?
Yeah, we're working on something. So there's kind of something available. That's it. So yeah, if you have somebody that sits, it'll be way easier on you if they weren't there. But if you want to bring them, feel free.
All right.
Yeah, feel free.
So Friday evening, what time is the movie?
Friday's 7 o'clock, 7 to probably about 9:30, 10 or something. And then Sunday is 12 o'clock.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and then when you go on the playlist on the Canaanland Moors, then you'll see all the other classes and all the other stuff we got up there. So just go nuts.
All right. Well, I can't wait to get this stuff inside of my.
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Trust me. If you go that way first, it's gonna be so much better than going the paper way or the card way first, then trying to get the knowledge. It's gonna be so much better.
All right. Well, I've been already introduced to all of this, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to go the hard way. To be honest.
All right. No doubt. We'll set up everything.
All right. So I will see you on the weekend then.
All right. You Moors have a good night.
You too.
Okay, I
Love
will.
and peace.
Peace and love.
Love.
Islam Moors. So you know, that's what it was. That's what it is. Islam told the Moors just needed them to get it all out because, you know, I was on the Job earlier when she called me. And I was killing my lunch listening to her. I'm like, oh man, she calmed down a lot. But you could feel the energy already. You already know. But it was heated. It was heated. She was mad, you know. But I had to let them vent. You know how we do, Moors. Get these new Moors. New Moors tear something up. Wake them all up at once. Drawley knew what was up. Peace and love to all the Moors. Keep studying. You know, you see how hard we had to beat it that, it's all about studying. This is what we got to deal with out here, Moors. Right? The ones who are on the way in, that's where they're at. Some type of issue they have. They have something. Something's going on that they need to not be dealing with or deal with using this. And it's hard to bend them. You know, it's hard to bend them to that idea that, hey, sorry, or you're not just gonna do this. You actually gotta put some work in studying, getting your mind right first. But those Moors are strong. They seem like they're on their way. You know what I mean? They found us. Islam to Canaanland Moors. Peace and love to all the Canaanland Moors for giving us energy for being out here. And peace and love to all the Canaanland Moors supporters for giving us some energy too. Those Islam Moors, you already know. Peace and love to all. And to all a good night.